Unlocking the Cage is recorded live on Twitch Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific at Managers Comedy. Tune in to chat and share your opinions and help us unlock the cage. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show.
Whether he's removing his face or on a criminal plane or a historical chase, we love Nicolas Cage. Star of screen and stage, gonna watch him all day while he's a screaming with rage, cause we're unlocking the cage.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Unlocking the Cage. This is our Nicolas Cage streaming show / podcast / YouTube series. I am Meg. This is my co-host, Chris.
Hello.
Hi. We are really excited for this episode because we are discussing National Treasure, which is a very, a commonly requested movie for this, a rare PG Cage. So for those who have not seen this before, our goal is to watch and rank every single one of Nicolas Cage's 104 movies and counting. We will be spoiling the movie if you care about spoilers for the Disney movie National Treasure from 2004. Let's bring out our guest. He is our good friend, improviser, creative historian, and musician Will Gianetta. Will, hello.
Hear ye, hear ye. I have hidden a map. Will you find it? Who knows? Decode the clues and you will have the treasure of America.
For the podcast,
Hi, how are you?
Audience,
that was a costume.
He is dressed as Ben Franklin. He is wearing an authentic Ben Franklin costume for the podcast audience.
Authentic meaning a Halloween store pirate hat and some glasses I bought to be Teddy Roosevelt for Halloween years ago. How are the two of you? It's wonderful to be here.
We're so happy to have you. We talk about this every episode, but Will wrote our theme song, which we love. So thank you for that.
And performed.
Will wrote and performed and did everything for the theme song. So it fucking rules.
I hope it's treating you well.
It's so good. I love it so much.
Also, I thought you were going to do the whole show as Ben Franklin. Now I'm disappointed.
No, I don't know enough about the man. I don't have that deep a knowledge of U.S. history to really know what's wrong in this movie, but I can smell that it's like 5th grade level U.S. history going on.
Damn, I was really hoping someone would, because I also was like, this could be true. Some of this. Masons.
If you start at the very beginning, we're talking just physics inaccuracies. We're not even just talking historical. So if you want to get real deep, they're not even caring about how the world actually works.
Yeah, real fast and loot. They give the character. I'm sorry if I'm trouncing on your format here, but there's a character who's supposed to be a science hacker who at the opening delivers an explanation as to why there is a ship in the Arctic. Yeah, and it's right in the start of the movie. You're like, there's going to be a lot of hand waving bullshit going on in terms of explaining how things got to be this way.
He was basically just what? Oh, the Gulf Stream brought it up. Trade winds.
He said the word thermal mass. He was throwing some words around. Also, what was he? Did they ever say what they said he worked in a cubicle. That was it.
They're treasure generic treasure hunters with skills.
His intelligence level, common sense, and expertise are all fluid depending on the needs of what makes Nick Cage look the coolest in the scene. He is often shat upon for things like, what do all these magic numbers mean? It's aren't you the hacker character? Why are you so I don't understand numbers? It's wild. Sorry.
He hacked into the highest security. Yeah, we are. But
they just needed some sort of comic relief character, and they didn't do a good job writing it.
Yes.
All right. So just to overview this movie, let's just overview as a team what this movie is about. So we've got a treasure hunter.
It is a 1-sentence movie. It is.
Do it.
There is a map, a treasure. There's a treasure map on the back of the Declaration of Independence.
That's it.
And from there, it falls apart because as soon as you start asking the why questions, it falls apart real quick. So why is Nick Cage the only one who is able to find this map? Why is he interested in finding it? What is the treasure? Why is there treasure? I don't know that I conclusively can answer a single one of these.
that. Well, I won't even start with this because it's too late in the movie. But there's this, like there's so many things that are just like, you ask questions, you're fucked.
So, but he is part of a family of treasure hunters. This movie opens. Yes, the Gates family, of course. Nick Cage playing Benjamin Franklin Gates. I believe his grandfather is John Adams Gates. And then does John Voight have a history name? I don't remember.
I'm sure he does.
I have a mashup of that opening scene with the grandfather that I want to show you guys. I made some surprises tonight.
This kid sucked. I hated the kid.
The kid sucked, but the grandfather, in the space of a minute, and I timed it, he says the word treasure I think it's 7 times in the space of a minute. And I mashed up that 1 minute into just the places where he says treasure. So here it goes.
What was the secret?
A treasure beyond all imagining. The treasure was too great. The treasure had been hidden again. The treasure.
He just kept saying the treasure. I was like,
it does remain that ambiguous because they never really go, like, Cage never goes, you don't understand, like, the historical importance, like, these are artifacts and scrolls that could teach us. He never says that. And the grandfather kind of implies that it's money, that it's just a bunch of, and like the imagery they show is like gold coins and goblets, and it's very like DuckTales, Scrooge McDuck, quote, treasure. And I was never quite sure what the value of it was, nor his interest in finding it, because he doesn't really have like Indiana Jones level of like, this is important history and I want to preserve it and it belongs in a museum. He's kind of like, I said I would find it and I'm gonna get it even if it kills me. And you're like, why?
Generic treasure. Honestly, I was kind of hoping at the end the treasure would be like friendship or something.
They tease you with that.
Yeah.
They tease you with like, oh, we found the room, and it proves that you were right and you're not crazy. Because a lot of this movie is pinned upon, I think, this idea about like conspiracy theories. They use those words a couple times. There's some cracks about Bigfoot that are made as if to imply like this is about the idea of conspiracy. Is the whole thing just there as a breadcrumb trail that we make up? Do we project these things? And then they find an empty room and they go, it didn't matter. What mattered is you're my son and I love you, and you solved the mystery even if there's no treasure to be had. And then they immediately go, just kidding, there's a bunch of scrolls in the next room.
Still, there's a shit ton of treasure.
Sorry. Before we dig into the plot, I just want to give a little quick background on the movie just so we can all remember. Back in the year 2004, National Treasure came out. This was
3 years outside of 9/11, just historical context. American sentiment is in the air, patriotism.
Absolutely, yeah. This movie was, I feel like, a sort of a unusual Nicolas Cage movie because it was a PG movie. I have a list of all the other Nicolas Cage live action PG movies, and it is very short. So he's not, super crazy. This is sort of his like pivot from, action star to like kids action star, which didn't really go very far. The movie was pretty poorly received in terms of like critical. I see a 46% on Rotten Tomatoes, but I think, Will, you did the research on this. It made a lot of money, and they had a sequel.
Yeah, it looked like they spent about $100 million on it, and they made about $300 million. I don't know specifically domestic, international, anything like that. I just kind of wanted to see if it made a return or not, and it appears that it did make its money as intended.
And they're making a third one, and also a Disney Plus series.
What?
Yeah.
I think the Disney thing is interesting to examine because you're pointing out that like Nick Cage has mostly done action guy movies.
Or like intense dude movies,
Big picture with him, I can't figure out what he's supposed to be as an actor. And you guys have seen more of his movies than me and have done the critical thinking. So tell me what you think. But I feel like he either doesn't fit in any particular role, or all the roles are written to kind of make him everything.
That one, yeah.
It's like he's Mr. Action Man, he's Mr. Brainiac, he's Mr. Historian, he's Mr. Ladies Man. Like they kind of make him the Ubermensch in this. I don't know that he has any flaw in this movie. and it's weird. I could see him wanting to make this more of an action role. Like there's gunfire, there's like crazy action music for stuff that's like they're running around the church there in Pennsylvania, Independence Hall or whatever. Like what is just kind of them running through a park is played as like this crazy James Bond chase. A lot of action elements that it seems like they tried to force in. Then there's the Disney stuff where it's like, could we have the grandpa talk to him as a little kid at the start and say the word treasure 100 times so that kids feel like it's a treasure adventure?
Yeah, this is a weird character for him because it's one where he sort of fades. His character isn't really strong. Like he kind of is just sort of, he could be anybody, and I don't know. It's
none of the characters are strong to me. Like the hacker guy sucks. He's all over the place. The what I will laughingly refer to as character for the female lead in this movie is
God.
She's German. That's her thing. She's just a German person.
She's kind of German, but
lady.
yeah, I mean, we can talk about this. Sorry, go ahead.
They treat her like a child in some scenes.
They treat her like shit. They treat her like dog shit. There's a sequence, I don't know if you have this. There's a sequence where he tells her to shut up like 10 times in the span of 2 minutes.
I should have grabbed that. She's like, he says
woman
shoosh.
who is like a professional in, like, I forget exactly what her role is, but she's a government employee.
Maybe?
Yeah. Like, she is arguably the person who would know everything critical to this. And he's frequently just going like, are you done not shutting up yet? Like, I'm trying to steal the declaration. He's literally like dismissive and shitty. And then guess what? She loves him. It's great.
And
awful.
We do have a couple clips of the chemistry or lack thereof between the two of them. Is it time for those clips, you think? Or
let's put him in our back pocket and just get a little through the beginning of the movie. And yeah, we start off, he's a kid, right?
Well,
we got our little Christopher Plummer scene.
I wanted to talk about what Will talked about treasure in this movie.
Yes.
The concept of treasure is like, it's a constant in the universe. Like as if there is a thing and it is treasure. But that's not what treasure is, because when you find it, you fucking spend it. It's gone pretty soon after you find it. It's fluid. It's not like a thing. Well, you find this treasure and then you're like Golem and you hold on to it like the ring and you never let it go. So I don't, and they keep talking about like, well, they kept it because they thought it was too much for one man to have. But then what? Yeah,
the foundational, I mean, we can talk about, I guess this kind of ties into the start of the movie, which is like, why did they hide the treasure? This fledgling nation that notoriously like had to steal and borrow money and like trying to get on their feet, trying to raise an army to like defend themselves against the British and like other foreign interests. And they're just like, put all the valuable stuff in a hole. Like, can we get a huge construction project? We're going to dig a 5-story hole under Wall Street and bury it there. It's like, there would be so many people being like, hey, we need to use some of this money. Can we use like half of it to raise an army? Like, can we please secure our national interests?
It's not even like a lot of the stuff is from, I mean, seems like most of it is from other countries. It's like Egyptian stuff. It's like, like Europeans, like
it's stolen artifacts from other countries.
Which is, why is that a national treasure?
Well, so much of this movie, I think, relies on the audience's ability to like just drive over humongous gaps. So like they start feeding you things and then you just make up the rest in your mind. Like they start feeding you a character and that character fits into a place in this whole archetype of this movie, right? So when they show you things that are like from ancient Egypt and stuff like that, you're like, oh, that's valuable treasure. Even though there's no context, it doesn't mean anything. It's like when they show you a guy at a computer and he's hacking stuff, it's like, oh, he's hacker man, he does hack thing. But you don't know you don't know who he is, where he's from, what his actual skills are.
Yeah, and like the speaking to the stuff that's in the treasure, the Egyptian stuff and whatever, the grandfather kind of explains like this is an ancient treasure, and every time it's traded hands, it grows. I assume because you add it to your own wealth. And they show this like flashback sequence of like, crusades and all these ancient battles, and it's like it's trading hands, and now it's ended up here. And it's like they explain that it was smuggled out of Europe at some point and brought to America, and like the whole story is just
the Knights Templar and the Freemasons are like the good guys in this, but like
I know, yeah.
Like,
What do we know about? Okay, what do we know about Knights Templar and Freemasons? Hopefully, you guys know more than I do because
I'm sure Will is the guy to talk to.
I really don't know a ton. Like, as far as modern Freemasonry goes, it's basically one of the many secret societies where like old guys with nothing but time do secret handshakes in a basement and say like these old kind of borrowed, usually like borderline race. Like there's a lot of stuff where they're like, oh, we took the Quran and like it's this holy thing. They kind of amalgamate different like religions and like ancient practices, whatever they perceive as mysticism. They do their little rituals and ceremonies and shake hands, and then they like give each other loans that they shouldn't. Like, my understanding of it is it's just a bunch of old rich guys like playing dress up in a basement is kind of what it amounts to.
Checks out.
Yeah,
I like it.
So I don't know. The Knights Templar are probably also a bunch of like crusading, horrible, ancient religious cultists or something like that. I don't know a lot about it, but yeah, the idea that like this movie takes the view that like these are good, positive, benevolent forces from history. Don't worry about it. They're all great.
I think
and somehow important.
I think it also like it adds to that whole thing where like, well, we're just gonna use words that will conjure up an image. So it like you say Knights Templar or Freemasons, like it conjures up secret society, conspiracy kind of you know thing.
Yes.
And, like that people like, I'm in, you know.
When the grandpa knights the kid too, like,
oh my
weird.
God.
Just do you want? Oh, are we knights? Do you want to be a knight? And he's like, yes. Oh, why? And like, that's never really dealt with. Like, I don't think the grandpa was a knight. I saw them as like archaeologists, like discovering this thing that happened and trying to find the truth in it. And then he's like, no, we're part of the knights too. We're here to protect it. And I don't know, man.
I would argue the grandpa played by Christopher Plummer is the only person who does any sort of legitimate acting during this movie, I think.
Yeah.
A treasure.
Sean Bean's pretty good. Like, Sean Bean is a mustache twirling villain, but I believe him as that.
That's true. But how much of that is just you've seen Sean be that character before? I guess that's probably Christopher Plummer too.
Not to give away too much, interesting enough, Sean Bean does not die in this fucking movie.
I know.
Oh wow. Disney probably.
Yeah.
There are gunshots. There's a couple gunshots fired. It is edited weird, I think. I feel like you see a reverse shot where he's using the Declaration of Independence under glass to deflect them. Like, but there's also a shot where they shoot a taser at a guard and the guard goes unconscious immediately. Like they're definitely Disneying up the violence, but I'm surprised Sean Bean didn't fall off a building or like a bridge at the end and it was like, he's probably dead, but we don't know.
It's like he got arrested. The end.
All right, so we after we've had the kid scene, right? We go to the Arctic.
Smash cut to the Arctic.
Yeah, smash cut to the fucking plains of the Arctic. We are driving to nowhere.
They're looking for a boat called the Charlotte, which is inexplicably under ice.
This is this is one of the stupidest parts of the whole movie for me.
Yeah.
Was they find this boat in the Arctic and he literally says, oh, this sheet of ice, it melts and then reforms over and over again, causing this like flow. And I did a simulation and it would have pushed it in this direction. They find the fucking boat. There's no water in there. It's a sunken boat with no ice inside. Like, what? Anyway, that pissed me off.
As far just flag for a little theory I have later. We have an old wooden sailing ship in a miraculous place where it doesn't seem like it should be. Keep that in your back pocket for later.
You have a Noah's Ark theory?
Nah, not Noah's Ark.
Okay.
Oh man, I can't wait to
where they
hear
don't
this.
belong. But also we should. I don't know if we need to get this much into the plot, but in the story, it's said that one of the last people to sign the Declaration of Independence was dying, attempted to go talk to Andrew Jackson.
Yes.
Andrew Jackson wasn't home, so he told his little coach, his stable boy, I think they say. He said, the clue is in Charlotte. And that's the thread that we have, that they are the descendants of that horse boy.
And the stable boy,
they know.
The stable boy did not turn around and then tell the president.
Right. He didn't like take a note and tell Andrew
secrets.
Jackson. Also, don't tell Andrew Jackson jack shit. That guy's an asshole.
Yeah.
The stable boy's like, I keep the secret.
So that's really what happened. Is it was supposed to go to Andrew Jackson, and then this they're really kind of the Gates family is kind of thieves. Like they're not like protecting.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They're just
they stole that information and intercepted it and did not deliver it to its intended recipient.
And one could think that Andrew Jackson was probably a Freemason, and it could have just been like, well, I'm passing this off because I'm gonna die to another Freemason, but this stable boy intercepted it, and maybe because the detective guy, he seemed to know about the treasure already. You know what I mean?
He had a Mason ring on.
Yeah, he seemed to be like, hey, you found the treasure, but
yeah.
Were they kind of
that would have been a fun turn, is if he was suddenly like, fuck you, Nick Cage, like you're not stealing our Mason treasure, and he pulls out a big sword and then they fight or something. Like
that would have ruled.
Do that.
That would be fucking awesome. What this opening scene where they find this boat, the part that I love was people are finding gunpowder and deciding to just fling it around like it's a gunpowder party.
They're swinging ice picks into these like barrels of gunpowder.
Oh, and then the one guy pulls the cork and it's like, oh, gunpowder's coming out of the cork.
It comes out of the bung for some reason. There's a bung in the gunpowder barrel.
Oh my god!
Also, like
there's a what?
There's like a bung. It's like a hole that you put a plug in. I think usually for like if you were doing food stuff, if you had like a beer, big keg barrel of beer, the bung would be the hole where you'd put the little cork.
You really are Benjamin Franklin. I think you really are Benjamin Franklin.
That's where bunghole comes from.
I gathered that now. That's
my
cool.
conspiracy theory is you are actually Benjamin Franklin because no one would know Cooper terms. Like,
but so yeah, they're playing fast and loose. Also, they walk into a room full of cannons and they're like, what do you think's in these barrels? It's like, it's not a lot that could be. And then of course the barrel that Nick Cage quickly sees, the captain skeleton is clutching the barrel, and he's like, why is the captain protecting this barrel? First of all, you assume he's protecting it. I don't know, man.
From what?
Yeah, didn't they sink?
Yeah, like
didn't they sink because of an ice flow? They weren't pirate taken over. They didn't find like a ship pulled up alongside them, and they were like, it looks like they're attacked by pirates. He just assumes he's protecting it. They open it, and inside is a fancy little box with a carved pipe.
Also, if I want to protect something, man, I will submerge it in gunpowder. That is the way to protect it.
That's the safest place. The safest place for the key to find your treasure is inside a barrel of gunpowder.
It explodes outward. It doesn't.
Barrels. They had to have other barrels. They had to have barrels full of food or barrels full of literally anything other.
They have a smuggler's hold that they go into.
Yeah. Nick Cage knows it's there because he's badass. Know everything. Nick Cage.
Oh,
he also, like stomps on the floor and goes, "I know there's a smuggler's hold here."
And the smuggler's hold is explosion proof, somehow.
Oh, that's right, because they blow up the whole damn ship.
But like
so he gets betrayed. Yeah, he gets betrayed by Sean Bean.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we gotta say.
Yeah, we got.
Well, I was just gonna say when that happens that he immediately lights a flare and goes, "If you don't get out of here, I'm gonna blow the whole ship up." And like there's clear sparks, like a road flare. There's like little embers flying off it left and right, like it's sparking everywhere. And then Sean Bean is like, I think he points the gun at the hacker boy or something, and then Nick Cage throws the flare at Sean Bean because he's like, there's gunpowder all over the floor, I'm gonna blow you guys up, hope you can catch it. And Sean Bean just catches it, immediately ignites his arm in flame.
He's like,
yeah, and then Sean Bean catches fire like immediately. It's like his fucking North Face jersey isn't gonna catch fire, but the gunpowder all over the floor obviously is.
I want to talk about the Canada Goose product placement during the scene. Everybody's wearing brand new, very expensive Canada Goose winter parka things,
like gleaming new,
prominently with the logo on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
yeah, they went to a North Face before they set out.
Before they went to the soundstage. They went to EMS and just loaded up or whatever.
Yeah, for their expedition.
When he makes the leap, so he tells, like, he finds the pipe, and for some reason uses his own blood.
This is crazy what happens.
Oh
with
my
this.
God.
Go ahead. You keep explaining it.
He pokes his hand and he's like, I'm going to use my blood. He doesn't even say it, but he's like, he uses fucking blood he knows that there's text somehow on the shaft of this pipe. He puts it on paper and then he reads it.
Which he like breaks immediately. Yeah, he breaks the pipe in half immediately.
He's like,
because he knows.
If for no fucking reason he somehow pieces together that it's the Declaration of Independence, like from a riddle.
Also, like my knowledge of stamps like that, of like ink block or stamp, because what he does is he smears his blood all over this thing and then he rolls it on a piece of paper to like see what it says. You can read what it says on the stamp. The idea that like it's carved, like it's embossed with those words. The idea that smearing blood on it and then smearing that on something else is like required or makes it more clear. Because when they show you the prop of like what he did, he's like reading it and it's like, you can't read that. Like you're in a dark ship in this bloodied like paper and you're like, it's very clear what it says here. It's the Declaration.
No, what they wrote was iron. What they, it's like,
oh my
dude.
God, that leap in logic. There's something where there's a phrase in the poem or in the clue that says like with an iron pen, and they go back and forth with all of this straight up mumbo jumbo where he's like, it's not that the pen is made of iron. Maybe it's that the ink was primarily made with iron. Wait a minute. Iron. No, it's strong, resolve, resolution, an iron resolution. They're talking about the Declaration of it. And it's like, holy shit, man. Like that is
you guys
so
ready?
Far. Do you have it?
The legend writ, the stain affected, the key in silence undetected, 55 in iron pen, Mr. Matlack can't offend.
So what's happening here is you have a writer writing the riddle, then jerking themselves off, and solving the riddle to show how smart they are. It's just like, come on.
Yeah, the 55 in iron pen, like if 55 people signed the Declaration of Independence, that's like all you need.
It's pretty straightforward.
The idea that like somehow iron pen refers to the resoluteness and that is how he gets to DOI is like just 55 people with a pen.
Yeah, he fucked up. Yeah, because the 55 was the one, and he's like, no.
I like the guy in this scene who's just like, I don't know, it sounds like a prison to me. Iron pen sounds like a prison to me.
Oh
yeah, I thought that was going to come back and be right. I thought they were going to go down the wrong path and then realize he was right in his offhand comment, but
I didn't take the time to research this at all. But I do have a whole theory that crew is all British guys. So that crew, each one of them somehow represents, or might be named after the king, the King of England or things like that.
Oh, I didn't do that math, but I did. Sean Bean was British as the bad guy. I thought was definitely deliberate.
So maybe they have some kind of connection there. But
Shaw is one of them. Shaw, I don't know if that relates. What's Sean Bean's name in this?
Ian Howe.
Ian Howe. Okay.
Ian Howe.
Never mind.
This leads us.
Howell. Pip Shippen.
So this results in them going, Sean Bean's going to steal the Declaration of Independence and we need to stop him. So they immediately go to the FBI.
But there's a real cut here because they get stranded in fucking the Arctic and they're like, well, we'll make our way home. Cut to the FBI. Like, that's it. Like, they don't.
Yeah. Do they explain that?
Yeah, they do. They say there's a Inuit village frequented by bush plane dudes or whatever.
And
he says bush pilots. Yeah.
It's like 9 miles away though.
Where is this?
That's got to be the Arctic, like the Arctic Circle. It can't be. I don't think it's Antarctica. I think it's.
Do you have bush pilots up there? I feel like bush pilots fly over the bush. Like there's not a bunch of trees up there.
I have no.
I feel like
clue.
that's truly no man's land. Like there's gonna be like maybe a couple science outposts or like military things, but like
9 miles to walk. Why did they? Why? I mean, like, first off, here's the crazy thing, right? It's a 9-mile walk. They came there in cars. Where did they drive from?
Like where?
Yeah, they're like gonna meet at the same village and just be like, oh, this is super awkward.
Yeah, like there's only they're gonna run into the same place.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm sure there were scenes or something that got cut out where they had something else happen on the way back.
And also there's a bunch of dudes who are still in the trucks who don't go into the boat, who then Sean Bean and his buddies come back out.
Hey, what happened to them?
Let's go, leave those two behind. Don't ask any questions.
I get the impression that Sean Bean is like so rich that he can just pay off these goons to like accept whatever. But they don't explain it. There's a line where Nick Cage goes like, Ian has infinite resources and he's smart. And it's like, what does he do? What's his? We find out that he does criminal enterprise. Is like what's said later. Is like because he explains that he says I've done a lot of criminal things.
But they're doing a terrible job with every character ever explaining what they do for money.
Yeah, nobody has a job. Or people have jobs, but it's unclear what it is.
And the motivations thereby are also like, why is Sean Bean this intent on something that by all accounts is like probably a hoax, probably a conspiracy? Like everyone in the world is like, your family science has been debunked for generations. You're the laughing stock of history.
They're like, oh, he can't even like go tell people his last name is Gates because everyone thinks he's a loser. From a loser family.
But like more importantly, if Sean Bean has infinite resources already, why does he want treasure?
That's a very good question.
Big treasure. He probably doesn't have that stuff.
But like,
I think it's like billions of dollars.
Yeah, they do say. I think Cage throws out $10 billion as the approximate. I don't know how the hell he'd approximate that without like evaluating anything in there with like any expert. Like he's not an Egyptologist, is he? He just looks at those statues and goes like, oh, that was a couple $100 million. And that's like, he just eyeballs it. But yeah, Sean Bean, like there's an opportunity cost for Sean Bean. That's probably the wrong phrase, opportunity cost. But like he's buying a lot of C4 and hiring a lot of goons and helicopters and like he blows up C4 underneath the archive built. Like he's potentially going to go to jail forever and spend millions of dollars on this thing that is probably not true.
Maybe he doesn't want to do that, and then once they find the pipe, he's like, "Oh shit, this might be true," and that's when he's like, "All right, I guess we're doubling down on this."
Yeah, he needs that little. Okay, that would make sense for me.
I think maybe when Cage, first off, like when Cage says, "Oh, it's on the Declaration of Independence," it's like, well, I doubt they'll ever just let us look at it. They didn't try that avenue, you know.
Yeah.
They did. I think when they were talking to people, they were like, let us just, like when they were talking to Diane Kruger, they were like, oh, let us just look in the back.
Before like I'm talking on the boat, like you know, when they confront each other and he blows up the boat, the reason he blows up the boat is because he's like, oh, they'll never let us look at the Declaration of Independence, and then Sean Bean's like, well, we got to steal it. It's like, wait, hold up. Why don't you just try first? Maybe they'll let you x-ray it or some shit. You know what I mean?
Lie. Like that's another thing is I don't understand why they don't lie at any point during this, because like when Nick Cage goes and sits down with the female lead, I can't remember her name because I don't know that. Yeah, I don't know that they say a character name at any point because she's just a woman in this.
Yeah.
But there's a scene where they go to the FBI. FBI says, fuck off. So then he goes to see this archivist lady who's like in document restoration. And he sits down and the hacker guy's like, they're never going to believe you. Like, they're going to think we're crazy. And Nick Cage is like, what's crazy, but a little less crazy. Passionate. So they sit down with her and he begins to like comically, like he knows it's comical when she's like, okay, like, what do you need? And he's like, I need to see the Declaration. There is a potential cryptograph on the back. And she's like, there's a cryptograph? And he's like, of cartological origin. There's a map. It may be ocularly hard to see. There's an invisible map. That's what I'm saying. That's where we lost the Department of Interior. And like he's saying it like he knows they're not going to believe it. He should just go, I'm a historian. I found this book where it said that on the back, John Hancock drew a little cartoon. And we think this could be really interesting. Like, we just want to see whatever scans you have. Could we maybe have an expert look at it with this? Like, say anything else. Don't say we think there's a crazy invisible map. Just say like, oh, we think somebody may have written a note on the back, or we think there might have been another signer who signed on the wrong side. We think there's something interesting here of historical value. Why do you have to lead with like, we want to see a crazy invisible treasure map?
Yeah, there were so many avenues they didn't exhaust before they like defaulted right to blow up boats, murderous rampage. Like they just went right to that.
And I do think it's notable though that like they did try to warn, like, all right, so if you're in this situation in real life, you know, and you've just been betrayed and you know someone's about to steal the Declaration of Independence, like, I think probably the right thing to do is warn the authorities, and people in movies never warn the authorities. You know, they're always like, I'm gonna deal with it myself. So this is actually, I feel like, a rare movie where someone's actually like, I'm gonna tell the people in charge.
I did appreciate that. I appreciate the smash cut to FBI, and he's just like, well, they didn't believe us. Like, because like he is ostensibly a good guy. He is on the side of the American system, right? He's like, I don't want this to be stolen at first. He only steals it as a last resort to prevent Sean Bean from stealing it.
I think this is a good time to show the clip of him explaining high treason.
Oh yeah, wait, hold on. Before we get to that,
Alright.
yeah. So they decide to steal it themselves. So
Yeah.
that's the next evolution of the plot. They have a whole heist, and that's when I got excited. I was like, "Oh, maybe this is going to turn into a fun heist movie." It's not.
Mhm.
It's not a good heist movie.
Yeah.
One quick thing before you show that clip, just while we're in the office and the beginning of the relationship with this female character.
Abigail Chase.
Abigail Chase. Thank you, Abigail. I don't know if he's putting this on as like a confidence move to try to win her, but he walks into that office like with his dick out. Like he walks into the office and he goes like, "Oh, I see you have Washington's election pins up here. You're missing the 87. You know, I saw one once." And then he like swings the chair over backwards, puts his leg over it, and he just starts like, he's like, "Oh, is that a Pennsylvania Dutch accent that you have? Like, I actually like, oh no, it's this. Yeah, like I could tell." Like he just walks in like he knows everything about her job and he knows her accent. It's like so over the top confident. I'm like, are they trying to make him this Lothario? I think he does something with money too, or he mentions like how expensive something is.
His
I
watch
can't-
later on? Is that what you're thinking?
He does it with the watch later too, yeah. But I think there's a moment in here too where he talks about how valuable. He says like, "I spent a lot of money on something." I can't remember, but
I mean, the love story in this movie is so poorly shoehorned in. Like it's
yeah.
It feels like bad direction to me. It feels
Yeah.
like Cage is trying to do something with a bad direction. Like,
Yeah.
that's all of it. But I don't know what that direction was. Like,
I remember the other money thing with the woman now is when he does go to the gala, and we can play the thing after. He goes to the gala and he says like, she's like, "Oh, I'm surprised you're here." He goes, "I made a last minute donation, a very big one actually."
Yeah, that's what
Like,
it is,
what
yeah.
the fuck? You're with all these DC like rich people and you're like, "I actually made a big one." Like, you couldn't look like more of a stooge than like telling someone you made a very big donation.
but then he goes to the gift shop and he's trying to pay for the fake declaration. He's like, "I have 32." Like,
I know.
You guys mentioned the directing. I am actually was surprised to see what other movies this guy John
I meant to look
Turteltaub
that up.
has directed. One Phenomenon, the John Travolta
Ah.
movie that tracks. While You Were Sleeping,
oh shit.
and then Cool Runnings.
No
Wow.
way.
This is the guy
Disney.
who directed Cool Runnings.
That's
Disney tie-in.
Wow. That's
Rush
something
Hour.
else.
Oh no, never mind. That's a TV series. Never mind. Go. All right. So we're at this gala, right? This is all
Mhm.
part of his plan to steal the thing, and now we have a moment where this pretty boring Cage character, we get to see the real Cage underneath.
He pops out for a second.
I love this moment.
Toast, yeah? To high treason. That's what these men were committing when they signed the Declaration. Had we lost the war, they would have been hanged, beheaded, drawn and quartered. Oh, my personal favorite. Had their entrails cut out and burned.
Burn.
So,
Yeah, what is the
here's to the men who did what was considered wrong in order to do what they knew was right. What they knew was right.
Yeah, the delivery is insane.
No blinking, just eye contact, chug.
Yeah, he chugs a champagne flute in front of the. Like, I think the joke they're going for is like he doesn't belong here, right? Like, they're high society. It's a gala, and he snuck in to steal the Declaration. Yeah, he entered as like a workman, and then he changed into the tuxedo in the bathroom. I think what they're going for is a comedic scene where it's all these high society people, but he's like this rustic guy, and so he's like, you know what they were going to do if they catch him? They cut their heads off. Drawn and quartered, you know what that is? They rip them apart with and like it's supposed to be like everyone kind of looks at him like, this guy doesn't belong here. But that's
Or
not how it's played. He's played like a psychopath.
Well, it could also be that he is what's the word? His own fear. He's like, well, this is what's gonna possibly happen to me after I do this. I don't know.
This scene actually we haven't covered this movie. We haven't covered this movie that has in a way that it's been aired yet, but it reminds me a lot of a scene in the movie Gone in 60 Seconds where he goes to a dealership and he pretends to be a fancy dude and he says like, "I've got a problem. I am out in the, and I'm just not in a fancy enough car." And I think that this is the way that Nicolas Cage plays someone pretending to be fancy.
Yes.
Undercover Cage.
This reminds me of another like crazy acting performance is in it's not Cage, but we just watched Battlefield Earth recently, which is the Because it was on, and it's great. But it's the same thing where what's the lead in that? Travolta? Is it Travolta?
Yes.
Travolta is playing this alien who is a highfalutin, like they're supposed to be these, they think they're genius aliens. And he's delivering lines like, I'm so much smarter than you. Back when you were wiping your own buttocks, I was being trained to conquer galaxies. And it's like, it's so bad. It's such a bad performance. But you see what they're trying to do. And I think this is exactly what you said. I think that in Cage's head, he's putting on some kind of performance that is not how it reads 1 ounce.
Yeah, it's fancy disguise.
We'll have
Parallel to this is, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say we'll have to track these undercover fancy Cage moments. But yes.
Parallel to this scene, we have one of the greatest hacking scenes, as their plan is basically to trigger like the defense system by heating up the Declaration of Independence, right? So that it says like, oh, it's too hot. Now it goes into the storage vault. Well, so now I can steal it.
They're triggering a maintenance. So like there's one that they think one of the sensors is broken and has to be replaced. So they take it out to replace the sensor.
And the hacker man accomplishes this by taping a visible light laser to a handy cam with a bunch of duct tape, walking in it like post 9/11. Can you imagine if you took a big handy cam and like wrapped it in duct tape with other electrical stuff and just started pointing it around in like a federal building? You would be swarmed immediately. It looks insane. But that's how they trigger it. It goes down the thing. Nick Cage is inside.
Meanwhile, and Sean Bean's team is meanwhile trying to steal it at the same time, but more explosive with bombs.
Yeah, C4 guys within the sewers repelling, and then we have our hacker guy out in the van, just like hacking his little heart out. And the mainframe has been accessed. He says we're in. Like, it's every trope from every hacking movie. It's just this guy like
they play the tape. They do the speed thing where they play the tape of just nothing happening. So over top of the
just the empty hallway.
There's a part of this that gets glossed over too, which is the fact that in order to set up his hardwired camera connection, the hacker guy does the whole break-in that Cage is doing the night before. He breaks into the same building. He gets into their server room and he puts a hardwired connection onto their camera system. And it's like, he was just there the night before. Like he got in.
And we have some fun like hackery things too. Like we have so the pin so Nicolas Cage gives her that missing George Washington pin, but he puts some sort of like luminescent.
Oh, that's what that was for. Okay, so I didn't make that connection.
Password.
He was painting it with his jizz.
They steal her fingerprint is another thing that happens that's because when he takes her wine glass, he puts on a little finger cut.
Oh God.
Steals the fingerprint,
which is a single finger rubber glove, and he steals the fingerprint somehow and uses it. You know, it's like some Mission Impossible stuff, but significantly less fun.
Yeah, there was a line I loved because, like, with the hacker scene, they're doing so much, and he's like describing. Oh man, there's so much. There's a scene where like they go to the Library of Congress just to explain this plan, where hacker guy's like, there are more books here than anywhere else in the world. And here's a book for you. Here's the security system on this thing. It has an he says like it has an electrical numeric passcode. Oh yeah. And a biometric scanner. And he's basically saying there's a password on it and like a thumbprint, but he says it in the most like technical way they could come up with. So yeah, he establishes we got to get in with the thumbprint. They steal it off the glass. There's a stupid little, I guess this is why they did it, but Nick Cage gives document lady a champagne flute. This is clearly like complimentary as part of the gala. Yeah. And then like, so it's like he didn't buy the drink. And then another guy comes over. Oh yeah,
there's like a little sexual tension thing.
Yeah, he goes, here, this is for you. And he hands her another champagne flute while she's already holding one.
Was that guy supposed to be her boyfriend?
I think so.
He never shows up again.
He's gone.
Yeah, there's like 2 scenes with him. He's just kind of like
he's like he's like the James Marsden character who, you know.
But he's taller so that we think Nick Cage is a romantic underdog.
Yeah,
despite the fact that he just like promptly kidnaps this woman and like.
Yeah, so all right, so we get the confrontation between Sean Bean and Nicolas Cage. He shoots at the Declaration of Independence and he holds it up as a bulletproof glass. And then he gets out. And then there's this. I actually really enjoyed the gift shop scene where
I did too. I thought this was great.
That was a great bit. He's
where he
paying
like
with
tries
change.
to he has the actual Declaration of Independence wrapped up in his jacket, and the gift shop clerk is like, why are you stealing the replicas? And so then he has to pay for a fake declaration, pay for the Declaration of Independence. It's and then we get to see the little bait and switch later where he gives Sean one of many times in the movie he gives Sean Bean the Declaration of Independence, and it's not actually the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah, I thought that was very clever, and that's the kind of scene I think you want to do with this character in this kind of movie, and I would have loved more of that. Is like, don't make the crazy thing, don't make the tension from action things. Like, you want this to be a bookish, smart history like movie. I like the idea that he's in the gift shop and he's gonna get fucked because he doesn't have $35 to fake that he's buying the map when he has the real thing.
And then
like, that's super fun.
It'd be great if like an elderly person, like a war vet, like he can't afford it, and a war vet comes up, it's like, you're trying to buy a piece of American history? Here, I'll buy it for you, or some shit like that.
Yeah, there's so many fun things you can do in there. Another fun moment, sorry, I'm just looking through my gala notes here, is when he has to he looks to get the password. That's why he put the glowy stuff on her fingers too.
A glove fry, yes.
Yeah, so they're looking at, they can see what keys on the keypad she's hit, because I guess that's how passwords work. Is like, she's the only one to ever acts. Oh, I guess no, it's on her fingers. That does make sense. Okay.
It's a full-size ASCII keyboard. Full size pops out of the wall. Not even like a keypad. It's just like a full-size computer keyboard pops out of the wall.
And so they run the anagram generator to figure out what her password is. And this is more like the computer hacker guy is the biggest fucking idiot in the world, because he like runs the anagram generator and he's going through all the things for it. And then Nick Cage is like, Valley Forge. It's Valley Forge. And he literally says, that one's not on my computer. And it's supposed to be one of these moments where it's like the sheer fucking stinky machismo of Nick Cage is better than computers. Like, his intuition and his historical knowledge is more powerful.
She typed the L twice.
Yeah, but it's like any programmer, hacker worth his salt is going to understand that, like, immediately. Like, he should have been the one to key him and then go, well, she could have hit the keys twice. Like, that's any like keystroke logging knowledge, anything. The hacker guy randomly is like an idiot and doesn't understand numbers or ciphers or anything. That happens later when they get the thing on the map. And he's like, these are just numbers. Like, that's not a map. And it's like, you're a computer programmer. Like, numbers can represent anything.
And he would have had to been like a pretty good computer programmer, like a defense, like he probably worked for the Defense Department, not like he worked for Google or something like that.
Right.
Like he, you know, he's doing crazy shit. Like, he had to work for like the FBI or something because he's like knows how to break into security systems. Like, he
doesn't understand how numbers could represent location.
Yeah, and he's also somehow really into history and decoding things, but he doesn't understand riddles. He doesn't understand maps. Oh my God.
I forget where it is. He has one line where he literally says like, what are all these crazy magical letters or something like that. It's like are you an idiot
outsider?
Or not?
So we have the confrontation. We end up with Diane Kruger hanging off the side of a van.
Oh, I forgot about that.
This chase is crazy.
They did a good job with this chase, and also Diane Kruger did most of her own stunts for that.
Holy shit.
Really?
Yes.
But yeah, that chase is crazy. The guy driving the food truck almost hits like 8 other vehicles. Like, they're constantly doing the thing where he's not looking, and then you see him almost hit a truck, and then he turns. That happens 3 or 4 times.
It's a Greek food truck. I didn't realize that till watching this again. That was a friggin'
Oh, really?
Greek. Yeah, like I didn't realize they were in a food truck the whole time. That's funny.
There's a crazy shot. I don't know how they did, but when they're in the food truck in the back, it's like an interior shot.
Oh, where everything goes like
over like a bump. All of the grates on the grills like fly a foot in the air with their, and it's like those things are heavy. Like, they dropped that truck off a big like to accomplish that shot. If that's not virtual stuff and it looked like it was real, I was like, that was a rough stunt. If they really did that with
they
people.
threw some stunt people in there and they just like rode it over like a speed bump at 60 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
Yeah, I saw it too. I was like, holy shit, that was actually a pretty good practical stunt.
Another thing in this post chase scene is so we had a line earlier where Diane Kruger.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm awful with names.
Abigail Chase is the character.
Yeah. When they're in her office, she says something like, "Oh yeah, the invisible map. Did Bigfoot steal it?" And it's like, first of all, fuck you, Diane. The world of cryptozoology is not necessarily overlaid with the world of like Illuminati conspiracy. Like
Spoken
Bigfoot
like
does
a
not.
true Mainer.
Thank you. Bigfoot does not necessarily have anything to do with the idea that like there could be a secret. It's just dismissive, and I didn't appreciate it. But then in this scene,
Squatch is real.
She
Everyone
says,
knows that.
When he reveals his real name.
Cryptozoology is in Portland, Maine.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. When he reveals his real name to her post chase and goes, actually, my name is Benjamin Franklin Gates. She goes, Gates? This is the line. You're that family with the conspiracy theory about the founding fathers. Like, everybody, they're trying to throw this conspiracy stuff in, and this to me is not like a conspiracy. Like, a conspiracy is like you're trying to cover up something that's happened. This is just like they have secret treasure. To me, that's not I guess conspiracy. I don't know.
The conspiracy comes in with the keeping of the secret of the treasure. Like
right.
That's kind of a conspiracy, but it's really a conspiracy theory about the Freemasons. It's not about the founding fathers. It's about, because it goes way back beyond those guys. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. It felt like they're trying to do this thing again where they're going like, oh, can't this be about Illuminati, conspiracy, global, whatever? But it's like, it's not really in the scope of the movie, but they keep trying to like shove that stuff in. Like, oh, he's a crackpot, he's a kook.
So we get Diane Kruger. She kind of gets captured by Nicolas Cage. She doesn't seem to be there willingly.
She's straight up kidnapped.
They kidnap her. They kidnap her.
Yeah.
She keeps trying to get away, and they keep saying, no, we're going to rip up the Declaration of Independence if you try to leave. And she cares about the document. They're exploiting her caring about the document so much.
And they're super dismissive towards her and tell her to shut up a lot. And they eventually decide that they're going to try to follow the clues. And so they go to Nicolas Cage's dad's house.
He is fully dressed, wearing a bathrobe. He has like a collared shirt on in like jeans, and then he has a bathrobe wrapped around him. I don't know why.
And he's like, there's some pizza.
When they open the pizza box, the pizza is full. He says, there's some pizza there. It might still be warm. So he's just ordering pizzas by himself.
Not eating them.
Also, no one in this family lineage of men, there appear to be no women helping them make the kids or raise the kids. We never meet grandma. We never meet mom. I guess he's the first one to develop a love interest.
He does say for a short time as I had with your mother, at least I had her. So like his mom is dead at that point.
So they had to address that in some way, because like the bane of every conspiracy man, the only thing that keeps a conspiracy boy from turning into a full-grown conspiracy man is his wife going like, hey, knock that shit off. We're not buying any more maps. Like, we can't, you got to clear out the dining room. We have company coming over. Like these kooky obsessive men like need that role to rein them in. So they just erase them from the film so that there's no voice of reason in this household.
There's only one woman and she doesn't matter.
Yeah. So we got.
Before we move on from the dad, I have a mashup of the dad that I want to share with you guys. Because I watched this scene and I was like, this is eerily similar to other Jon Voight films, other characters I've seen him. So I thought I could mash up another film and show you that he's really playing the same character in both films.
I have a job, a house, health insurance. At least I had your mother for however brief a time.
Oh, okay. I missed that.
Come back to this damn town.
You disappoint me, Ben. With what? Your male modeling? Prancing around in your underwear with your wiener hanging out for everyone to see? Get out. Take your troubles with you. You're dead to me, boy. You're more dead to me than your dead mother.
Wow.
It's just the same scenario. Also, the guy's name is Ben, and it's like Ben Stiller. So it was just,
right.
It was too similar.
That's awesome. So we have like a bunch of clue stuff. We find the thing on the back of the Declaration of Independence.
He holds a lemon wedge like he's about to squeeze it like he's seasoning like a drink or pasta, and then Diane Kruger stops him and goes like, if anyone's gonna do this, it's gonna be a professional. And then she uses like a Q-tip to apply it. But also, sorry.
Yeah, I think you're about to say the same thing I am, but I don't know if you guys know invisible ink and lemon juice. Usually the invisible ink is the lemon juice.
Yes.
And then you heat it up. So what he was really doing is writing over the whole.
They just covered it up with like lemon juice. Also, there's a line where he goes, "We're gonna need more juice," and she goes, "We're gonna need more heat." First of all, so the dad goes like, you gotta put that in the oven. That's the only way to get it hot enough to read the invisible ink. And they're like, "Shut up, Dad. We're working in here." And then when they go, "We need heat," the Nick Cage and Diane Kruger both lean down and breathe onto the map in order to heat it enough. Like, how hot is breath? There's like a really weird sound, like they put in them going, oh, like as they breathe on it. But like how hot is your breath? Like your blood temperature is like 98, right? So like, assuming you exhale, that's no hotter than like a DC summer.
They would have never seen it before. This is the thing. Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like the idea that is a substitute for putting it in the oven was nonsense. And then when Cage goes, "We're going to need more juice," they cut to a bowl with like 8 lemons in it. I'm like, how many lemons does his fucking dad have? He's ordering pizza on a weeknight. Like he's not a cook. He does not have citrus throughout his kitchen. Bowl of lemons.
He's got a lemon tree.
A hair dryer at some point too.
Oh yes, they do. Dryer. They do upgrade to a hair dryer.
Hair dryer.
That's a good point. Why does he own a hair dryer?
Foy had a pretty good head of hair.
That's true.
Yeah, but you don't dry it. He's gonna dry hair of that length.
Maybe it's like it's from his dead wife, and he just can't.
Maybe he does it for his other documents. Maybe he's been checking them for all these years for this secret stuff. Oh, that's another thing we need to address. Part of the reason for going to his dad is that he needs to get the letters. Ben Franklin composed a series of letters to a newspaper under a pseudonym of like this fake widow character had created.
The Silence Do-Good letters.
Yes, this is where the rest of this clue lies. They show us a website at some point. Somebody like Google Silence Do-Good, and we see like, oh, here's all the letters on the website. And he's like, I got to go to my dad's house to get the letters, because the cipher on the back indicates like in line 3 of letter 2, the 4th letter is the first part of the clue. And it's like, aren't the letters like on a website?
Yeah, no one's transcribed the letters over.
Yeah, you just need to see them. You don't need the original copies. It's not encoded on them. It's just
we haven't covered the like clean room, like fucking creepy like plastic room.
The Dexter room.
Apartment that they can't go back to. He's like, I had it all set up.
Yeah, they were gonna do it all. He like bought an air filter and like, yeah, they were set up to. Another thing that just keeps happening, the level of care that they take with the Declaration of Independence. Like every time it comes out, Diane Kruger's going like, be careful. And you'll just see 3 people holding it and like shaking it out and flipping it over. And it's like, they're always voicing, we need to be very careful with this, and then throwing it around. And like Nick Cage, when he rolls it up and shoves it into a plastic sleeve, like that's the first thing he does with it. I think they said it's on animal skin and not parchment, but like, you're going to damage it. Like they are not being very careful. He never puts gloves on really to handle it. Like, I don't know, man. They play fast and loose with the danger element of destroying the document.
They absolutely do, yeah.
It's also, I don't think you can roll up the Declaration of Independence. It's like probably way too brittle at this point to like roll like that.
Yeah, that's what he just, yeah.
Oh,
yeah, because they say, the dad says it looks like animal skin, but I don't know. Also, just like another foundational problem with this movie, there were 200 copies of the Declaration of Independence made when they made it. I think they had to sign like all of them. And then I looked it up and I think there's like 26 in existence still. Isn't a much more plausible thing for this movie when he's like, we need to steal it. Be like, there's one that's just like in the Arizona Air and Space Museum. Like there's got to be like a shitty one somewhere you can get to. I don't know why you have to go to like the big one.
Like there's nothing specific about that one. Like, isn't that just like one they decided to, I don't know. I
doubt that when they did it, they went, this is going to be the real one. Put the map on this. I have a feeling whichever one's in the National Archive was just like the one in the best condition or whatever that like was the most survivable of the lot. I doubt that there's like an official one and then all the copies, but I don't know.
Yeah, sorry about that. I stepped away, so like sorry about the repeating the roll up comment, but yeah, like I said that to Meg. It's like, yeah, there are definitely multiple copies. Maybe it would have been more interesting if it was like more like a Jackie Chan adventure situation where the secret was on the multiple copies and they had to get like 3 different versions of it. That would be good. That'd be kind of cool.
I wanna jump ahead because we have a lot of movie to cover. So we get like we get like a bunch of clue deciphering things. We go to Philadelphia, Boston. We deal with some like time change stuff, daylight savings time.
The hacker knows about daylight savings.
What is stupid about this movie and unforgivable is they keep ending up at the place they have to be for different reasons. So like they end up in Philadelphia because the dad happened to donate the Silence Do-Good letters to that museum in Philadelphia, but it also happens to be where they need to be for the next part of the clue.
Right,
and then they end up, and then for no reason, Sean Bean asks him to meet him on the deck of the
Intrepid
in New York City, and it happens to be they have to go to Wall Street for the next clue. It's just like really way too convenient writing. That's like
I didn't even catch that.
Yeah.
There's a really cute scene with this little schoolboy that they pay to go get because they know Sean Bean's going to be there, so they pay him to go get the letters off of the thing. But Sean Bean notices the kid. We got some glasses hidden in bricks. We learn that the back of the Declaration of Independence has another thing on it, but you use these colored 3D glasses to see it.
The hacker goes, they're like 18th century X-ray specs. Because that's how a hacker understands light. And like, I don't...
He wouldn't say something smarter, because he says smart things about other things, but he wouldn't say something smart about those.
Yeah. So in this hodgepodge here of scenes, this is where we sort of see the FBI get involved, and we meet what the heck is that
Harvey
actor's
Keitel.
name? Harvey Keitel is the lead FBI. So one of his agents I happen to recognize looks a little bit like a guy named Jacob from a television show called Lost.
The blonde guy.
Chris and
so
that too.
Yep.
So I caught that and I go, oh shit, like Jacob from Lost is in this movie, and I'm sitting and I'm going, this is fun. And then I believe, I might be wrong in exactly what scene it is. I think it's when the little boy is transcribing the letters for the hacker man. I believe it's as Sean Bean is about to get the hacker man, a bus crosses the street and prevents him from getting across the street. Guess what it says on the little electric sign in the window of that bus? 108 Airport. Now, for those who have seen Lost, the number 108 is very significant. I believe that's the number of minutes that passes when Desmond has to push the button in the hatch. There's all kinds of numerological stuff in the show Lost that involve the number 108. And also, airport the whole show is about planes crashing on islands. If you remember earlier, there was a ship that randomly ended up in the Arctic Circle. So we watched Lost. There's a slave ship called the Black Pearl, which ends up in the middle of the Lost Island.
The Black Rock.
Yes, the Black Rock. The way that it gets there is because the island moves and ends up underneath it. I think it's either that or there's a storm that pushes it inland. It's something like that. I propose that Nick Cage was a candidate in the Lost universe, and that this film happens in the same universe.
All right, wait, because what you're saying right now is pretty bonkers. But
the 108 bus is the thing that made me
go,
oh shit.
What about the numbers for the Silence Do-Good letters? Did we look at those numbers closely?
I haven't, no.
Are they 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42?
Guys, guess when Lost premiered?
2004.
Year 2004.
Guess who was... guys, guess who executive produced this show and the movie?
Lindelof?
No.
J.J. Abrams?
J.J. Abrams.
Did he really?
Nah, it's fucking with you.
Oh, I was like, there's no way. Because Jacob doesn't even show up until like season 5 or 6. But when I saw 108 Airport right after seeing Jacob, I was like, oh my God, there's no way. But I guess they didn't even know that probably when they were doing Lost yet. So who knows?
I'm trying to see if anyone else has drawn these conclusions before.
Are you Googling it?
Yeah.
The shot of 108 Airport on the bus is very, very clear. It's like it stops in the frame. I'm not sure if it's exactly where I thought it was. But it's in this series of scenes. I have it written under Philly. This is also the scene where Nick Cage and Diane Kruger go to Urban Outfitters in order to get like regular clothing again.
Oh, we have a clip of that.
In love
oh, I love this scene. It's so bad.
The men and women's changing rooms that are right next to each other and like don't cover any of their bodies.
Oh God, that is the dumbest
so
thing.
out of place in this movie. It's just like a scene from like while you were like I don't know, You've Got Mail or something.
The music and the tone of the film all shift completely in this one scene. All right, here's the changing room scene.
At your father's door and say you're in trouble, and the first thing he assumes is I'm pregnant.
Is there a question in there?
Great.
I think there's an interesting story in there.
I mean, my father thinks I've been a little too cavalier in my personal life.
I feel like there's digital fuckery in this. I feel like
Let me
this
ask
is a
you
real
something.
set.
Have you ever told someone, not a relative, I love you?
Yes?
That question just blows
More
my
than one
mind.
someone?
Yes.
Well, then my father would say you've been a little too cavalier in your personal life, too.
How tall is Diane Kruger?
I don't know.
Yeah, so that's why I'm like, it looks like they shot them on green screen and then like digitally put those little partitions in front of them and stuff. Like it looks off to me. Their heights are weird. The height of the doors are weird.
Yeah,
I think they created this on a green screen.
I don't like
5'7", by the way.
Oh Jesus.
Oh, okay.
So that is relatively high, but like, if you're like a 5'9" woman, like you're gonna be squatting.
Yeah, it is.
When he's like, have you ever told a person? I mean, he is obviously a man in his late 30s, early 40s. To say, have you ever told a person not a relative that you love them? I'm like, wait, is he telling too many people he loves them? Like, I didn't understand what they're saying here.
Yeah, this is very awkward.
Yeah, no, because I think they're saying that has a bad history with women, and that's why his dad thought that she was pregnant.
It's because he's a crackpot. It's because he's insane, and
he falls in love
bothers
easy.
Government people.
He kidnaps women, and forces them.
It's worth calling out that pregnancy line too. Like, smack me across the face. He shows up at the house again with like an adult woman and an adult man at his dad's house, and he's like, "Dad, we need to talk about something." He's like, "Is she pregnant
again?"
What? Like, and like the subtext, because he says like, "Dad, we need help." So the implication of the dad saying that is like, are you coming to me for like abortion money again? Like, it's like he's a teenager showing up and saying, "Dad, I need help." And he's like, "Is she like, what are you going to do about it if she is?"
He also says,
"What do you mean? I said I need help."
He goes, "Where's the party?" As if to say, like, his son has showed up wasted at his house before. You know what I mean?
No, they were all wearing fancy outfits at that point because they just came from the gala. I think that's.
Oh, all right.
That I do.
But
understand.
it is dismissive for like, she's wearing like a dress and he's wearing a tuxedo, and it's like, "Hey, where's the party?" It's like if somebody showed up drunk on your doorstep, you might say that flippantly to them, but they're dressed nice.
Also, like, if someone is in their 30s and they get pregnant, it's not like a 16-year-old. It's like,
Yeah, that's why he says, "I need help," and he's like, "Is she pregnant?" It's like, you're implying that would be a problem. B, that like 30-year-olds would need an older man's help with that for some reason.
Like, how fucked is Nick Cage's life at this point that he's like, that guy cannot have a kid, even though he's somehow wealthy independently. He's just like.
Yeah, I found that to be more like, institutional misogyny in this already horrible relationship with this character.
Yeah, that one was over the top insane.
I was gonna say, Chris, you have the freeze frame of Diane Kruger, who is a very attractive woman, like with like the most unattractive face. Like she literally played Helen of Troy in a movie, and she looks awful in that portrait.
All right, so they go to Philly. They find the brick with the glasses. They use the glasses to read the back. It says something about Wall Street.
They go to New
It's
York.
spelled wrong. They go to New York. Sean Bean is
he gets
captured.
the upper hand. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's captured all of his friends.
Yeah.
He got him.
Oh,
So
but
he
at some
jumps-
point, we forgot the Intrepid scene.
Oh, yeah.
Where he jumps off the ship.
A la Face Off, he jumps from a high height into the ocean. This is number two times of him jumping seemingly to his death off the side of a boat.
Wait, Chris, we have a shared doc of Cage threads. Do you have this one on there?
Yeah, this is on there.
Okay, good.
So,
I'm jumping off high heights.
So related to the jumping from the high heights, I go, what the fuck? He's gonna jump like 40 feet into the ocean, and then he immediately, a scuba diver like gives him a rebreather, and they're like, and he's like, and I was like, oh, earlier when he was in the Urban Outfitters and he wanted to see the $100. First of all, he says, so they're paid at Urban Outfitters, and he says to the woman working at Urban Outfitters, "Hey, could I see one of those $100 bills I just paid with?" Because he only, or I guess that's the money from his dad's book. They stole his dad's book because he kept money in it. I don't know. And so then the lady's like, no, I'm not going to give you $100 bill. And he goes, here, you can hold my watch. It's a diving watch. I do a lot of diving. It's actually very valuable, as collateral so he can look at the $100 bill. But they do that to say that he's a diver so that we buy the fact that when he goes with the scuba diver in the water that he knows how to rebreathe.
I know, Will, you said you haven't seen this movie, but Chris, where else have we seen Nicolas Cage underwater with propelling scuba gear?
The Rock, son of a bitch. You're right. Oh, this has to go in the Cage threads.
You can make so many supercuts after this of him just doing the same action in different movies.
It's going in the Cage thread. All right, so we have jumping from National Treasure and then prison, but that's another Cage thread because he's been in prison in pretty much all his movies. And then underwater scuba propeller. We got these two movies.
Yeah.
He says that he doesn't want to go to prison this a lot. Like at the end with Harvey Keitel, he's like, I really, really don't want to go to prison.
Harvey Keitel's like, someone's got to go to prison.
I know, that's just how it works.
It is. Someone's got to go.
That's how the U.S. justice system works.
All right, so we're in.
It's like, yeah, that little kid could go to prison. The one helped you with the numbers.
It doesn't matter. Someone's got to go to prison.
So Trinity Church.
Trinity Church.
And, he escapes the FBI custody.
And he also, they at some point, like Diane Kruger and the hacker get like the upper hand on Sean.
They get the upper hand and lose it immediately.
Yeah, they put a tracker on him or something.
They like pay him to help them, and then he's like, "Nah, I'm still a bad guy. You guys."
It's not, nah, JK, you're back in danger.
That doesn't go well. And then we climb through a casket into a hole.
They smash immediately. They smash this like grave marker in a movie where everything has secret messages written on it. As soon as they go, hey, this name matches, the goon smashes it with what appeared to be a giant wrench.
So and then they just take the body out, drop it on the ground, smash the skull under their foot. They don't give a shit. They're like just destroying it.
I think this is also about when Cage kisses Diane Kruger
on the way down.
Do we have that clip, Chris?
Yeah, I've got both the kisses. I mean, the problem is the only clip I could find was like a handy cam clip. So these aren't that good. I tried to do some stabilization on them. Didn't really work out that well. But this just kind of shows.
What do you mean handy? Did you film this with a handy cam?
No, this is off of YouTube. Somebody handy cammed it, like to avoid copyright infringement or something.
Gotcha.
But yeah, this is all I could find was here's their two kisses. Come here.
This is the woman that he kidnapped, and then she resulted in her being kidnapped by another guy.
And then this guy comes and says, that never happens to me.
Just look at his face after they kiss. I guess we got a kiss now. Oh, now look at this guy's face.
That says it all.
In that scene at the end, he has a weird line where he's like, well, you got the girl, didn't you? Like, such.
Yes, I did.
So shitty. Also, just another thing, because that guy, the hacker guy, and are trying to pin down what the fuck he's supposed to be and who he is. At the start of the movie, when they're in the ice boat, the Charlotte, there's like a scene where like he pulls a hammock down and there's like a skeleton. There's like a preserved skeleton Revolutionary War guy. And this guy like freaks out and jumps on the floor. And Nick Cage says, what does he say to him? He's like, oh, you handled that really well. It's like they're trying to project that like this guy is this like Nevish, like bad with the ladies, scared, and Cage is like the confident, like, oh, you shouldn't be bothered by dead bodies. But it's like, you're a historian or something? Why are you so comfortable around dead bodies and skeletons? Like,
let's recast this movie because I think they're going for something and they went the wrong direction.
Guys, I think Chris Pratt
as that guy or as the lead?
Which guy?
As Nick Cage.
Oh, okay.
But like recent Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
But he has to be more like you have to play it as a more bumbling character.
Okay, wait, hold on. Recent Chris Pratt as Nick Cage and then older Chris Pratt as Justin Bartha's character. Or like I think see,
I would do just Seth Green for the other guy.
Yes,
like dude gone in 60 seconds hacker. Like he played it. That's how you play it, right? But yeah, there's so much wrong with how they portray the character, like the dialogue the character has. That's like, I don't know what he's supposed to be.
What would be great is if they gave it more of a Doctor Who or a Sherlock kind of spin, where like you like admire the intelligence of this person and they could still be sexy, but you know, they don't have to be like a man's man.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. They should be a book smart person who like is good at clues and riddles, but not good at all of the physical demands that getting into this world has. So like he should be uncomfortable in the car chases, and he should be uncomfortable being shot at. Like he should be more bumbly in those moments, but then smart and able to crack the codes and stuff.
But
they went Harrison Ford with it, and Nicolas Cage is not Harrison Ford. It's a very different person.
Yeah. It's like that. It's like Da Vinci Code meets Indiana Jones.
Yeah, like this
and,
was
like doesn't know which to be.
This was of that era of the Da Vinci Code, the Mummy, and like this movie, and it was like America's Da Vinci Code.
Yeah, they were like, okay, well, we got an Egypt one, we got a Europe one. I guess we need to do one about American history.
I think the concept is cool. I just think that they didn't pick a lane and stick to it. But I do think that's a fun idea. Like, go dig up the founding fathers. You know, that's fun.
I can't wait to see the second one. I haven't seen.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
The preview for the second. Well, let's not even get into that yet. Also, guys, you know, we're gonna keep going here, but I have 2 alternate endings for this movie.
Are they ones that you real ones or ones you made up?
No, not that I made up, and I got the clips. So,
whoa,
yeah,
right,
that ending with the smooch was not the original ending. That's
feels
why
tacked
it's so
on.
Yeah.
Let's so how does it actually end? So we go down this cave tunnel thing. There's a lot of like
there's like a 5-story deep hole, like an insane engineering project for the time it was constructed.
All right, so Manhattan is marshland. It's not very solid. There's no bedrock down there. As I used to work on bridge projects in Manhattan, when they have to build anything tall, they have to drive piles real deep, real deep. So the fact that they dug down there and it's bone dry and there's no water, impossible, like literally impossible what they're showing.
Yeah, it's
also
an island.
Manhattan famously has a lot of stuff going on underground. There's no way that would just be undiscovered. They're just like, let's just avoid
the subway
this.
Shakes it.
Yeah, but still, like they would have discovered
the subway runs adjacent to that hole. Like
when they went to like do their test holes or whatever for the subway, they should have gone like, hey, there's a huge hole over here.
Well,
like,
the subway line doesn't go that far down to Wall Street. I think it is on the west side. There's a subway line down there, right, Meg? I can't remember, but the 6 doesn't go that far.
I think there's a subway all over downtown Manhattan.
All right, I don't know though. Is there one?
So
this is where the bull is.
Trinity Church.
This is around where the bull is. On I don't know. We'll have to look at the subway maps here.
So either way, Cage and his dad kind of do a wink and a nod, and they go like, "Hey, let's like try to turn the tables on him, but just like go along with all this stuff until the moment falls in our favor." Immediately, people start falling down these old wooden timbers. They start breaking. Like this ancient hole is not safe. They're using a police
status
system
quo,
to get
son.
down. Yeah,
status
quo.
The
status quo. That's what they call it. There's a line in here that like really piqued my interest, but they never gave the explanation. So like somebody says, how did they accomplish this with hand tools? Like, how did they ever do this? And somebody says, the same way they built the pyramids and the Great Wall of China, which the answer to should be slaves.
It's like, yeah.
Like
piles
and
of
then
dead slaves.
Somebody says aliens helped them. I did like, you know, like you have to acknowledge in a movie like this where you're like going through American history that like a lot of these people are slave owners. Like that's a big part of this culture and this history, even going back further to like, oh, the great treasures that were preserved by the mighty noble knights templar. It's like, it's all horrible. They're all trying to genocide each other. They're all the treasures of the past are like, you know, at the expense of those who were not allowed to share in the bounty of them. Like there's a very dark history that's being explored in this movie that they do not touch on for 1 second.
You gotta wonder if in the third one they're gonna do it. Who knows?
Maybe.
I mean, I feel like, you know, that would be.
And I was 1,000% wrong. There is a Wall Street Station is at Trinity Church.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's what I was looking at too. There are the 1, 2, 3, RW 4, and 5 are all within like 3 blocks of.
Like there is a subway station at the church. Like so this.
I could have done with a little hand wavy line where somebody said, "How did they not find this?" And they went, "It's a historical protected site. You're not allowed to dig within 100 feet of it." Like,
wouldn't have
just
hurt.
do that.
Will, why weren't you working on this project?
Yeah, I was busy at the time.
Bigger things.
I was in 8th grade or something.
All right, so they try to pull a fast one on Sean Bean. They don't succeed, and at some point, Sean Bean's like, "All right, well, we're just gonna take the elevator back up."
Yep.
Because they find the empty room.
Yeah, and then within seconds after Sean Bean starts doing the elevator back up, I forget if it was the dad or Nicolas Cage. He's like, actually, we tricked them. There is something here. And like, I was like, what? You know, Sean Bean probably should just like roll the elevator back down and be like, I can hear you. I'm in a giant
cavernous room.
His dad and him need to start doing like duo improv, because they were on the same page without a single word or even eye contact. Just like immediately. They just knew.
Yeah, they lie, and like everybody on the ground knows that it's a lie of a story, and the British people don't, I guess. Like, do they not? It is interesting that like the leverage that Nick Cage maintains is like, what if you find another clue? Like, you're gonna need me for the next clue. At some point, shouldn't the man with infinite resources go, I've hired a team of historians. Most of your inferences seem to be simple riddle solving and or like the clues are not, again, like with the 5th grade level of history being dealt with in this movie, none of this stuff is like, if this audience can follow it, that means that like most people who know about history could probably solve these clues.
Well, the hardest clue they don't show in the movie was they had to make a computer model to find out where that boat was. So that one was like insane. The rest of them are easy. They must. If I was the hacker guy, I'd be like, wow, these have been real easy since that first one where I spent 6 months writing a fucking computer model to find a boat. You know?
Speaking of, this gives one of the moments of salience that I love from the hacker guy when he's like, we're gonna die down here, and all he cares about is that he does not give a shit about the treasure at this point. Like, once they get left in the bottom, and like when they get into the treasure room, the Diane Kruger's like, are you crying? And he's like, there's a way out. Like he sees the stairs, and that's what's making him cry, is that he realizes he's not going to perish in this mystery well.
The true treasure was life itself, is what we learn. Not dying.
Yeah, so they find the empty room. And there's the conversation with the dad where he's like, well, I'm proud of you now, son. You've atoned with the father. The story is complete. It doesn't matter, because it was never about the treasure. It was about proving that you weren't crazy. That's the true thing about conspiracy. All right, we don't read these websites because they're going to make us rich. People don't talk about their alien abductions because they stand to gain something. It unilaterally ruins your life if you believe in a conspiracy. The payoff is finding out that you weren't crazy. That is like the metaphor of the film.
The payoff is being the one who was right when everyone else was wrong.
Yes,
which is, I think, what a lot of people
go in. Sorry. Then they immediately go into the treasure room, and it's all real.
It's like, no. Oh, actually, we have that clip. We have the clip of them like lighting up all the things in the treasure room.
He uses the pipe. The pipe is the key. The pipe from the beginning.
Yeah.
And he goes, could it really be that simple?
And they find this fucking treasure.
I like this contraption. This wouldn't work, probably. I don't think fuel would last for
See, like the way things are going in this movie, I would have thought this could have like
lit it all on fire.
Yeah, it could have been like a self-destruct mechanism, like to protect the treasure. Like, he didn't know. They just love lighting gunpowder on fire. They don't give a shit.
Yeah, I will say, breaking in tradition from most ancient treasure holders that I've seen, not a lot of booby traps to keep people out.
True, very true.
Zero.
Like, and the only real booby trap was sort of the decrepit staircase, which was
unintentionally.
Yeah,
they were like, they love the
engineering.
Their only method of defense is the fake out. Like, they had a fake sacked room.
Yeah.
Because like behind one empty room was a second empty room. Remember that? And then they find the treasure. They find this empty. They find a dead end. It's like a circle.
Yep.
Then they're like, they open a wall.
And then there's an empty room behind.
And there's another empty room. So it's like 2 fake outs in a row. And then if you make it through those two, it's basically like saying like, it's rewarding conspiracy theory type thinking.
Right. Yeah. That's a good. I think that is a pretty good trap deterrent. If you want to hide something, put a safe in your house that has like $200 in it and nothing else. And then when people break in, they'll go, "Oh, this person just doesn't have a lot in their safe." They don't find the real safe.
That's
where
point.
You get them.
That's like the fake wallet when you're traveling. Like you carry a fake wallet, so if someone mugs you, just give them your fake wallet. Chris, so what are the alternate endings of this?
Okay, so there are 2 alternate endings. And let's bust them out. The first alternate, this is the original ending, and then they added that tacked on ending after this screen tested poorly. So this, sorry, just to kind of set the scene. This cuts from right after Sean Bean gets arrested, and Nick Cage is waving from across the street. It's like cut to this.
I don't know why Nick Cage went with them for that. He's like, go arrest him in Boston. Yeah, I'll come.
It's like, cut a helicopter.
I'm gonna lurk in a doorway.
All right.
Do you really think they put a map on the back? Nah. It's a plot to make us learn history.
What are you thinking about?
Nothing.
There's nothing on the back of the Constitution.
I wasn't thinking that. Are you sure?
Already checked it out.
During the War of 1812, Andrew Jackson and Jean Lafitte scuttled a ship carrying $7 million in gold.
Gulf of Mexico.
I'm just saying.
Oh, no.
What's wrong with this ending?
Guys, one request. Do you think that maybe we could keep some of the treasure this
This
time?
is kind of boring. So it's just setting up more treasure hunting, basically?
It also explicitly says they didn't get any of the money, whereas the other ending, they get a finder's fee. I think that might be why they changed it.
Wait, when did it say they didn't get any of the money?
At the very end, he just says, at the very, very end, the comic relief guy goes, hey, you think this time we can keep some of the treasure for ourselves?
Oh, okay.
So,
but I feel like that's anathema to the message of the film, because the whole thing was like, nobody should have this money. This belongs to the people. This is a historical treasure trove, not a financial one. Because that's the conversation with Harvey Keitel, is he's like, I don't want this. Like, this belongs to everyone. And that's like, no one person should have this. This belongs to the world. He even mentions, like, which I thought was good, there's a moment where he says, like, we need to get everyone. We split it up. The Smithsonian, the Historical Museum in Cairo. Because there's like the whole imperialist element of this is like, these treasures have been stolen from all across the world, not like found, not like discovered. So he's like, let's give them back. Let's like share it with the world. I think that's a better message than seeing Hacker Man drive away in a sports car at the end. Because what do intellectual hacker people love more than sports cars? Like,
yeah, in a fancy house, like he has this big estate and stuff. It's like yeah, that's really what they changed it for. It's like they get big money for finding this treasure at the end.
And maybe they weren't as confident that there would be a sequel, whereas that alternate ending really sets up a sequel, and they were like, I don't know, maybe we shouldn't set it up so strongly.
It sets up father-son treasure-seeking adventures.
Yeah, I think, like, I don't know. Like, you could just assume they go off into the sunset and do that.
That's true.
I guess I see what you're saying. Like, it is a gamble. They're making a commitment that's like, it looks bad maybe if they don't get that sequel.
But I don't think that's an unusual thing for a movie to do, is set up a sequel and then not do it. What is there another one?
So this is less of an alternate ending and more of an extended version of the first ending, that they like, the one that the theatrical ending. But they cut it out because it had, like, I guess, like, extra stuff they didn't want. And you can kind of see where they cut it if you watch the actual theatrical ending.
I made something for you.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
What?
A map.
A map? Where does it lead to?
You'll figure it out.
Wait, it's not over. It's not over. Shit. For the podcast audience. For the podcast audience, you just gotta watch it on Twitch or YouTube. I'm sorry. Go to YouTube. Go to Managers Comedy on YouTube and watch the end of this thing. That's
what is that last scene from, Chris? I don't recognize.
That's from
Inglourious Basterds.
It's Inglourious Bastards.
Oh, okay.
They're just into choking. They're just into choking.
I had the same thought though when she said, she said, I made you a map, and he goes, where does it lead to? I thought she was gonna say the bedroom.
Yeah.
And then they were gonna run inside, but I maybe because it's Disney, but otherwise it's just strange.
It doesn't say, right?
Like I gotta Dude, I did steal that. That was something off of YouTube that somebody made. That was a stolen.
Oh, you didn't make that?
I did not make that. No.
Oh,
I put the
sure you made that.
I put the Inglourious Bastards. I added the Inglourious Bastards on the end.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, these are both very strong Chris choices, and I love that you made them. But I see.
Yeah, I was like, how did you manage to get that image look very realistic?
I mean, we don't have grass, Meg.
I know we don't. There's no grass to use.
Yeah, go watch it online, everybody, for what he showed.
My stolen content.
I'm surprised there wasn't like a dog in this movie.
Oh, there should have been a dog.
He should have had like a hound dog that was named like history guy. A hound dog that named
George
like
Washington.
Yeah, exactly. George, come here. Smell this map. Now go find the owner. And it's like he's such a good smelling dog that he can, even though it's 1,000 years old, he can smell where John Quincy Adams hid the clues. That'd be good.
And then like the dog, like, you know, you think the dog gets blown up in the beginning, but it like
but he doesn't. Yeah,
it just scurries out.
No, because it's Disney, they wouldn't even they would only have like a second of doubt about the dog. Like you wouldn't have like a dead dog at the beginning of the movie that revives in the end. That's too dark.
And it's gonna bite Sean Bean in the nuts at some point.
Absolutely,
just right on the fucking nuts. Bite them nuts. Is it time to? Oh, we have all kinds of stuff. What time is it for, Meg? Also, I have some.
Oh yes. All right. Well, so I want to just ask a general question before we move on.
Okay.
So, all right, I've never seen this movie. This is my first time watching it. This is pretty much what I expected. I was kind of thinking it might be a little bit more fun than it actually was, but I also am not a big American history person, so I think a lot of that stuff was just sort of like snooze fest. But I'm curious because you guys have seen it before, right? This is not your first time.
I saw it once a long time ago, but I didn't remember it that clearly. I remembered like what you would see in a trailer.
And do you I'm just curious. So Chris, when did you see it?
Oh, I saw it around when it came out, and I've probably seen it on TV since then, but
I think I might have seen it in school. They might have like put the DVD on in history class when they didn't want to teach us one day.
That tracks.
This is like cleaning my apartment on USA Network or TNT or some bullshit.
It's a very USA movie.
Yeah. And how do you guys feel like it held up versus your memory of it?
It's just like I said, it's a movie where your brain does most of the work, and it's like real easy going down, just like romance lady, comic relief man, action dude, and then it's a crappy, just usual whatever kind of movie. So I mean, it's all right. I don't think I need to watch it again.
Yeah, I think I was surprised on rewatch with how much dumb action stuff was forced into it. There's like 2 or 3 chase sequences that are just like, these don't need to be the chases in this movie. Like, create the drama with like, oh my god, are they gonna break the artifact? Like, no, the Declaration of Independence got knocked into the river. We need to chase, like, I don't know, like this part where like men with guns and like swerving. I was like, felt like too much of an action movie.
There could have been,
remembered it being more campy and like fun romp.
To add to what you just said, there could have been more tension around the handling of the document, or unless this is what you were talking about.
It's treated like a football. Like they're throwing it around, they're shoving it down their pants and stuff. It's like
they could have accidentally, when they were trying to do the code thing, like ripped a hole in it or something fucked up like that, and like I don't know.
All right. I want to tell you guys some trivia about the movie. I have to say a lot of the trivia about this movie is kind of boring because it's just like, oh, this is accurate to American history. Again, my bias is showing. But did you guys know that all the good guys in the movie use Google, but all the bad guys use Yahoo search?
I did notice someone was using Yahoo. I did not make the connection that it was evil.
You good, Chris?
I'm fine. I'm just trying to get my MIDI keyboard working again.
Oh no.
Because I wanted to hit the trivia button. Trivia button.
Trivia button?
Trivia
All right,
button.
imagine.
Oh, well.
It's okay. We don't need it. We don't need it, Chris.
Oh,
no. When they did so they had a scene in front of the reflecting pool. The water was digitally added later because it was drained for maintenance. Yeah, same thing with Forrest Gump too.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Huh? They like run into it in Forrest Gump.
It must be like a close
trivia button.
Yeah. Yeah, they probably put him in a pool and then they they did it close up or something.
The shadow thing where he has the shadow of the church, that it wouldn't even work because the shadow of the sun changes during the different seasons of the year.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That was another thing that screwed me up, was when he was like, I need to see the $100 bill so that I can see the time on the clock tower. And he goes like 2:22. You can tell within 10 subdivisions of the numbers that it was 2:22. How small it's printed on a $100 bill that you literally had to use a water bottle to magnify it, and that. I would just be like, I don't know, it's sometime after 2:20.
And also, the shadow doesn't move that much, you can probably get a sense of where it is at 2:12.
Yeah, exactly. Just go look and also when he was like, oh no, we missed it. We missed it's like, couldn't you just do the math on where the shadow would be? The building's not going to move. The sun's going to be. The idea that they almost missed it and they were only saved by daylight savings time was like, I don't know, man, just look around. The sun should be over there. It's going to be over here somewhere.
Another one I got is all right, so I think this is interesting. I don't know if you guys think this is interesting, but that it is a PG Nicolas Cage movie. I don't know if you can name any other PG Nicolas Cage movies that I'm not counting cartoons where he does.
I was gonna say Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, that is one, but I'm gonna say live action ones because I feel like
Sorcerer's Apprentice.
That's one.
Ooh.
National Treasure 2. Not surprisingly.
Oh, The Family Man.
I don't think that one actually is.
Oh wow, okay.
It might be. But that wasn't one of the ones I saw. But then the other ones are Moonstruck and It Could Happen to You. So
I don't know either of those.
They're older romantic comedies.
You will be watching both of those at some point as a part of this program.
Yeah. But so I just think it's interesting because it's so rare that you get a really a Nicolas Cage. You can't be super crazy. You can't.
Yeah, swear. I wonder, is that a stipulation of his? Is he I won't do movies where I don't get to curse and shoot guns and stuff?
I mean, he clearly signed on for this one, so.
I guess it's an image thing. And so
One thing that I do know about him that you're curious to see how this goes is that he doesn't like playing the villain. There's not a lot of Nicolas Cage movies where he's the villain.
I think that's a bad choice for him because he is so odd. He would be a great Bond villain.
I mean, you haven't seen Face Off, right, Will?
I have. I don't know if I watched it start to finish, but I've seen big chunks.
So he's a great villain in that, but then at some point
I could eat a peach for hours.
Exactly. He switches bodies and becomes the hero.
I see.
So he's playing the hero even though he's playing a different character.
Maybe he knows this about himself, and the reason he doesn't want to play the villain is because he's worried the darkness will come out.
Yeah.
I want to see cage. As we go if we ever find any true Nicolas Cage villain roles.
Yeah.
You know what? Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's good.
Well, I was just gonna say on that note, the impression I get from him and his character in this film. Are you guys familiar with the Neil Breen films?
Yes.
They've been discussed as these bad movies, but he's an independent filmmaker. He makes these movies that he writes, he stars in, he directs, he does everything. And they're really bad CG, but they're pure. He's insane. But he thinks he is a genius. He thinks he is a visionary. He thinks he's a great director and a handsome actor and all these things. And the characters in those movies very much reflect that. The main character in the story will be I'm the smartest scientist ever to work with NASA and the government and the jet propulsion. He's everything. And this character is that. He's the hero. He's a genius. He's a ladies' man. He's smarter than the hacker. He's often dismissive of the hacker. He's confident. He's not scared of the dead bodies. And it just feels like that same vein. It's he is the Ubermensch in this movie. And that feels like a very Cage thing to me.
I have Fateful Findings. I haven't seen it, but I have Fateful Findings and I want to watch it. But it's it looks like a softcore porn. So I'm is that what this is going to be? He puts really
awkward sex scenes into the movies, but I don't know. I haven't seen Fateful Findings, but yeah.
I totally agree with you though. Well, that's dead on observation.
What is his character's weakness in this movie? What does he overcome? What's his transformation?
His weakness is it's not a personal weakness. It's society's impression of him is that he's a crazy person. I guess
he's right. Like the vindication isn't that he changes; it's that everyone else realizes he was right.
Yeah, he doesn't
And
change
that's,
at all
like-
throughout the movie. Maybe he finds love. That's his thing.
Yeah, like
After a history of never saying I love you and getting lots of women pregnant and having his dad pay for abortions. I don't know.
But it doesn't seem like he changes his tact. It seems like the women finally wise up and realize that he is a catch.
Yeah.
It's not like he fails because he failed at courting her and then changed something and won her.
So the character then that goes through an arc in this movie is not Nick Cage, but the world itself.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's
we
great.
are the protagonist.
Let
go that sink in.
Let's all right. We have talked about this movie a lot. Let's go, Chris. You got your buttons ready to go?
Well, yep.
Okay, let's go to the ranking section of
I can do that real easy.
Yeah. Rank the Cage.
Oh,
now,
God.
hopefully it comes up. Yeah, it worked, except it's on the wrong page. There we go.
Okay. So this is our section where we rank the movie by giving it a score and we see where it lines up with the other movies that we've watched. So take us to the next slide, Chris.
Take us to the bridge.
So this is all. Well,
What is
this
that
is
creature?
You're the first person who said anything about this. Thank you. It's a rabbit with Nicolas Cage's face on it. I found it on Google image search.
Gotcha.
That's all we got.
I didn't know if there's like a pun underlying somehow that it was like Cage.
Speaking of puns,
hair.
Speaking of puns, before we rank this, I want to just shout out to Friday's Great British Baking Show episode, which we could not figure out how to get a clip of.
Those guys have their footage on lock.
They do. We're not about to rip something from Netflix, but so they had to build a pastry cage, and they made a reference to Nicolas Cage. They said that Nicolas Cage loves Great British Bake Off. That is not. I don't think that's actually true. It was just a stupid bit, but
they said he was the inventor of the pastry cage.
All right, so for this, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna rank everything out of 10. You just literally, so the first one for this, we'll start with you. Basically, how good was this cast out of 10?
At like actually, like how serious is this? Like at actually delivering the material in a good way?
However serious you want it to be.
Well,
it's extremely subjective.
The cast is more like how we've rated this in the past. The cast is more like the quality of the cast as a whole. Like, are the actors good in general, or that's what we mean by cast, I guess. Is like when we watch some of these movies.
I don't think they are in this. I think I really don't like the cast, but like I also think they're doing garbage material, so it's like I don't know how much to blame them for that.
I would put the material will be under the next one, which is acting. So yeah.
I'm gonna say like I'll give them a 5 out of 10.
That's very
because they got names. Like Plummer's good. I like Kruger. But like overall they're doing bad. Like the hacker guy is horribly miscast. Cage should not be the lead of this movie, I don't think. Sean Bean is fine. Yeah, I have 5, 6. I'll give him a 6.
Okay,
6
for Kruger and Bean and Plummer.
See, I'm right there with you, but I'm more harsh. I'm gonna say 4 because I think like Nick Cage shouldn't have been in this movie. I think like every role was miscast in this film. The only one that's actually cast right is Harvey Keitel. I think he's where he should be.
I forgot about Keitel.
I'm gonna do a 2. I think 1 point for Harvey Keitel, 1 point for Christopher Plummer. Everyone else I feel like is miscast or misused. I think Sean Bean is not given enough to do. I think Diane Kruger is, given a really terrible love interest part. I thought this was a waste of people and could have been better cast.
I want to make mine lower. Can I go back and make it lower? You've convinced me because I agree with everything you're saying. I didn't want to be surprised. Give me a 4 too.
Okay.
Like, yeah, I didn't like what anyone was doing. I was trying to give them the credit that like it's not their fault because the material was so bad, but I take it back.
Well, this is the casting director's fault. It's not you know what I mean? Like it's casting choices.
Yeah.
I think Kruger and Keitel were good as choices, but with horrible material.
She should be in more like a lead in more movies. I don't know why she's
great. She's great in Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah. Okay.
Next one is acting. This is overall, not specifically Nick Cage. How good is the acting in this movie?
I'm gonna give him a 2. It's god awful. Sean Bean was good. That 2 is all Sean Bean and the grandpa at the start.
I'm right there with you, Will. There's nothing to salvage from this movie when it comes to acting.
I'll give it a 3, but not for much else. All right, this is how fun is this movie? Like, how much were you like, yeah?
I think the only moment I said yeah was literally the map thing when he had the map in his pants and a lady was like, "You're trying to steal that? It's $35." I was like, this is fun. This is where this movie shines, is other people not understanding that he's doing this crazy. He's stealing the Declaration of Independence. It's insane. And then that was like the only fun scene for me, I think. I'll give it a 3. I'll give it a 3. I enjoyed watching it anthropologically, but as far as like fun, I didn't think there was a lot.
I agree with you, Will, but I think I'm gonna go a little higher just because there's like a little bit of Goonies element. I think the idea could have been really great if they.
I think the idea is great. I just think they fucking ruined it.
Yeah, I think there were so many places they could have gone, that they just didn't go. So I'm gonna go 4.
I'm gonna go 5, and the reason for that is that I do really love a heist movie, and some of the Nicolas Cage movies we've seen have been so much less fun, like shown like really graphic, awful things happening to people. So I think this is just a middle of the road. It's not horrific, but it's also not face off,
I think I'm also kind of evaluating it in terms of like who it's for, because this is like it depends, because it's half dad porn, but I think it's because it's PG, it's for kids. Like this is for dads who watch the History Channel and like Tom Clancy novels for sure. But I think it's PG, so it's for a little kid, and a little kid isn't going to be like, yay, he went to Philadelphia, he knew about Ben Franklin. Like, they're going to hate it.
Is this the target audience is for history teachers that want to take an easy day in class?
I think that is the target audience.
This next one is technical. This is just sort of like special effects and whatever. I don't know.
Costumes, special effects, practical effects, CGI, that whole everything, like technical quality of the film.
I think quite good. I think they spent their $100 million wisely. There wasn't a lot where I went like, that CGI. The only thing like that was when they were showing the Declaration going down into its like chamber.
Yeah.
There was one really weird. It was when they were robbing it, when they had the 2 heists going on at the same time. They did this weird thing where they were zoomed in on like Nick Cage's door he went, and they went like whoosh, whoosh, and like zoomed in on the other door with these weird sounds. It was very odd and digital. That was the only thing where I was like, that looked awful. I'll give it an 8. Because nothing wowed me neither. Nothing was like, that looks so cool. It all looked kind of competent.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not bad, but I like the chase scene where she's hanging off the door, and that part where they do the thing with the food truck.
That was a cool practical stuff.
So I'll go 7. I'll go 7. I they blew up a boat. That was a real explosion at the top of the movie, so that was cool.
I'm gonna give it. Yeah, I think I'll give it an 8. I mean, I don't have I didn't see anything wrong with it technically. I do want to point out though. I don't know whether this will be my bonus, but yeah, I'll just let you know. The Nicolas Cage's hairpiece is real bad. So actually, take it down to a 7, because that was bad hair, real bad fake hair.
I didn't even notice that, but I believe you. He's just so eccentric that
edges of it looks glued on.
Yeah.
All right. Overall,
like it's hard, right? Because I want to give it up for this movie for doing a U.S. history like that is a gamble. They tried to do something really cool, and it's original. Like, this is an original idea to me. I know the Da Vinci Code, yada yada, but like there was no other blockbuster movie that was like $100 million budget. Like, this is a U.S. history heist thing. That's a cool idea. Maybe I'll give bonus for that, for the concept. Okay. But as far as like overall enjoyment, like unironically, not laughing at this film, it's got to be like a 3 or 4.
Oof. Which one are you going with, 4?
I'll give it 4. I'll give it 4. I wasn't like angry at it, but I was not interested for most of it.
I'm gonna go 6. I mean, I don't. I like Diane. I like Kruger. I like.
Yep.
You know, it wasn't terrible to watch, but yeah.
God, they really squandered her.
I'll give it 5.
5.
It's fine. It's fine.
Split the difference.
So this last one is you can give or take away a bonus point for any arbitrary thing you want. So like I could say -1 bonus point for Nick Cage's hairpiece. I think I might do something else though. So if there's anything you can think of, we'll just whoever has one first.
I'll give the bonus. I'll give him a point for the concept and for running with this with a big budget movie. I like that. I would like more. To me, it's like a smart kind of idea that I hadn't seen before. It was like, what if it's a movie about stealing the Declaration of Independence? Great heist movie, U.S. history. Cool idea, guys. Great idea. You blew it.
I think I'll take a point away just because that shoe scene with Diane. Is it Diane Kruger? I keep messing it up.
Yeah.
It's like
Which
that
shoe scene?
when where he literally says "shoosh" to her when they're sitting outside the van. Like that was just like that part. I was like, "Oof, this is real."
It's
bad.
uncomfortable. If you go watch that again, he's literally like he says to the other guy like, "Is she done not shutting up yet?" It's like juvenile. Like you just kidnapped this woman and stole the Declaration of Independence. Fucking chill.
The lines they give her when she's in the backseat of the car are just like, "Guys, come on, guys! Give me the document." It's like he's like holding it over her head, and he's like, "I want the document," like a little kid. It's like, you can't have it, you little stupid idiot.
I don't think they gave her one moment of outsmarting him and being like, actually, I'm a professional and here's how this would work. Like,
well, that one time with the document when she has to put the stuff on with the Q-tip was the one time that like she has status in that one moment.
I'm gonna also take away a point, just because I really hate the genre of like action movies where they shoehorn a romance into it and then they just like randomly kiss in the middle of it. I just not a fan. So we have watched 4 other movies at this point. Our number 1 is Face Off. Our number 4 is The Wicker Man. I don't know, Chris, if you remember the score for The Wicker Man, but where do you think this is going to come in above or below The Wicker Man?
It's gonna be tight. They might have tied.
And Will, you haven't seen The Wicker Man, have you?
No.
Okay.
I only know the famous bee scene.
Yeah. Which is not actually in the movie.
Oh, is it a deleted scene?
Isn't that crazy?
It's an alternate ending.
All right.
Wow.
I remember what the score is for The Wicker Man, so I won't say it, but let's see where we end up in our ranking. Okay.
Wow.
All right. So
coming in at number 4, National Treasure.
Face Off at number 1, Wild at Heart number 2, Leaving Las Vegas number 3, National Treasure, and then Wicker Man on the bottom. Okay.
Are they tied? Wicker Man and National Treasure? Or
No,
I think
they're
they're really close, right? Like
they're really close. Yeah.
Wicker
it's
Man's like
5.5.
62. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah. So this is. I feel like, Chris, this is what I would rank them if I was actually thinking about it. I might have ranked National Treasure higher than Leaving Las Vegas, but anyway.
No, this is about where I'm sitting with these two. I don't actually know. Wild at Heart is skewed up because of Brendan.
Oh
me.
yeah, our guest really loved that movie. So
yeah, Wild at Heart, he was like 10. Like,
hey, you know what? Everyone, each their own.
It's funny because I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's it. I liked it more than Chris did, but
I was running the categories back through my head again, and I was thinking like if I had to do this for Con Air, it would be like straight 10s. I think.
Oh yeah.
So I could see how your guest could totally flip this.
We'll see how Con Air goes. We got Connor Nee for Con Air.
Ooh, that's fun.
We don't have it scheduled yet, but we'll all right. So Chris has got his the Cage Gauge.
We're going to the Cage Gauge. The Cage Gauge is a quadrant plot that plots just Nicolas Cage's acting ability versus the craziness. So when I say Cage craziness, I mean like that Cage brand trademarked craziness, right? Like, are we seeing any of that? It's a 0 to 10 ranking.
Yeah.
So let's start with the guest. Will, what do you think for Cage craziness?
We're definitely seeing a little bit of Cage craziness, especially in the scene where he is describing the ways the founders would have been killed.
Yeah.
If they had been caught, the high treason description. He's like at a gala going like, oh, and my favorite part, their entrails would be burned. Like completely inappropriate, like for where he is and or what he's saying. But there's not a lot. I'm trying to think, where else does he manifest like true craziness.
He does
really limited.
Yeah, so it's there, but it's peaking. Is this a 1 to 10 again?
Yeah.
It might just be a 1. There's like crazy logic stuff, but as far as that energy, that visceral, I think it's a 1 for me.
I completely agree. I think they barely showed any Cage crazy. I think I'm gonna go 1 as well because he's so subdued in this movie. Like, except for that one scene. Like, I mean, I might give it a 2. I'm just gonna throw it up 1 point just to kind of like, because he does have that one scene, but yeah, I don't know.
I think there's always gonna be one scene. I don't know. I'm gonna give it a 1 too.
Yeah, it's real. This is the first one where Cage has been really subdued that we've seen.
I'm trying to think. There's a couple lines where he like goes to explain things to people, and he'll say things that are nuts. Like, oh my god, hold on. There's one.
It comes across more pompous than crazy, though. I feel like.
Absolutely.
So this is the acting. Yeah, Chris.
Just Cage's acting ability, quality.
I mean, it's bad, right? It's not good. But like the material's so expositional that he's doing a lot of like, don't you realize when the founders first founded this country, they had a founding idea that everything would be made out of treasure. Like, there's a lot of that where you're like, this is nonsense words that he's also failing to deliver. Is there any? What is the most dramatic he gets in this? Is there any moment where he's actually pulling at our heartstrings? Maybe when he's reading the line from the Declaration, and the super brain science hacker goes, I don't know what any of those words mean. It's like, listen, you idiot. It means that you have to do the right thing. That's probably the most.
No matter the cost.
Yeah, I think that's the most acty he gets. I'm gonna give him a. But like, there were a few points where I was like, this is stupid. Like, I'll give him a 3, I think, because he does a passable job for the tone, but. I think if you isolated any line, you'd be like, this is the best take you got.
Yeah.
If I think I'm going to have to go lower because like seeing him in other movies and how like what he does in other movies, I'm like, oh, he's not even trying here. This is just Cage being like, so I'm going to go with 2.
Yeah, I'll do a 3.
I'll do a 3. This is an interesting one. We've never had a movie like this one before. Also, I have some ideas that just came to my mind. I think this could be, if in an alternate universe, the kind of movie that you would package Jackie Chan in and crank up the karate action, because it doesn't matter what the acting is at this point with that main character and how believable they are. Like, if you're going to put Nick Cage there, he's just being completely unbelievable. You might as well put Jackie Chan, like make it like The Tuxedo, or like any of those movies that he's done where it's like they just ignore the fact that he has an accent, they ignore anything, and then he's just this guy who can do karate that's in, So that could have gone another way. I don't know.
Yeah, he could really be anybody. You could redo this movie with anybody as the lead.
Also, should we explore that? We might have talked about this before, but if you could put anybody in that lead role for this, like reboot the franchise,
right?
Same kind of material, same kind of tone, but like,
which they are. That's what. So they're doing a TV show, and they're doing it with a younger cast. But let's say it could be anyone older or younger, whatever.
You had mentioned Chris Pratt before.
No, I don't actually think I'm going to revise this. I think David Tennant or Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh, a British guy. That makes sense.
Yeah. Benedict Cumberbatch would be great at this. He'd be great. It'd be Sherlock Holmes. That's all he'd be doing.
Yeah, I'm having trouble. I think that's a good call. I think someone more intellectual, like a Cumberbatch.
Ooh, John Hamm.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, shit. I'm trying. Like, I want to say Tom Hanks, but that's just because of Da Vinci Code. I feel like that's a cop out.
And I want to say Harrison Ford, and same reason. Yeah.
But yeah, maybe somebody a little older too.
Anyway, let's see, Chris.
Yeah, where we go. All right, so on the Cage Gauge, this is the first film. This is the first film that lands us in this lower left-hand quadrant, this less crazy bad acting quadrant.
Which inexplicably you have put a picture of him in Con Air in that quadrant.
Yeah, it's just a peaceful Cage.
That's fair.
Just it's a quiet piece. I think I'll replace it with this image though now, so that we know that this is out here. We have the example. Now, if we see how that stacks up against all the other ones, this is the first time we've even ended up on this side of the thing. So usually it's good acting, crazy. Bad acting, crazy got us the Wicker Man. Good Acting Crazy. You got Leaving Las Vegas, Face Off, and what the hell is it called?
Wild at Heart.
Wild at Heart. So
Yeah.
I'm going to be interested to see where these land, where they start to cluster, and I think we're just going to get most of them in this top right-hand quadrant.
I think if you hire the Cage, you're hiring him to be Nick Cage.
Right.
Like, you don't hire him to play your everyman, like, guy, which I think this role more demands. I think you hire him to be insane. So it's weird to see that combination of, like, he's not doing much acting and also he's not being crazy.
I think what's going to be interesting is we hit the Ghost Riders. Ghost Rider 1 and Ghost Rider 2 are going to be in completely different quadrants. That's my guess.
Yeah. Let's go to do we have a Cage Facts thing? Chris, I can't remember.
I'm going to use my fancy footwork. It's Nick Cage Facts.
Yeah. So we just like to have a brief moment in each episode to sort of learn a little bit about the man himself. This week's Cage Fact comes from this really interesting interview he did with Marilyn Manson as the interviewer. It just came out a few days ago. I don't love Marilyn Manson as a person, but the interview is interesting because they're clearly old friends, and we learn about like what Nick Cage is doing during quarantine, that kind of thing. But one thing that I picked up from this is that he recently got a crow. He has a pet crow. The crow's name is Hugin, which is named after Odin, one of Odin's ravens. He's an African pride crow, and he says hi when I walk in. This is from the interview. He says hi when I walk into the room and bye when I leave. The other morning he started laughing and called me an asshole.
The crow can talk?
I didn't think crows could talk.
I know ravens can kind of do that, but I guess they're the same family probably, right? Crows are super intelligent. I know that. They can use tools to get other tools.
He
craft a tool.
Marilyn Manson asks if he genuinely believes that the crow is speaking to him, and Nick Cage obviously says, yes, I genuinely believe that the crow is speaking to me. Also, he feeds it cat food, specifically Sheba perfect portions.
Crows also they covet, like they use currency. Like you can get crows if you start leaving out like coins and bottle caps. Like you can court a crow to like be your friend and to trade with you. They'll bring you stuff for food.
You know a lot about crow reeling.
You got to look up crows. They're very smart.
Well, I like when they use the crows to clean the beaches.
Oh, did they do that?
They have a pellet dispenser that takes cigarette butts as in exchange for food, and the birds just exchanged all those cigarette butts for food.
That's smart.
That's awesome. All right, so we have reached the end of a very long episode. Thank you guys. This is awesome. Well, I think this movie deserves a deep dive. No, actually, I don't think it deserves a deep dive, but we did it anyway.
That was a fun one. Though. This is fun.
This is fun. Will, what
I had a great time.
Do you have to promote to the world, our vast podcast, Twitch, and YouTube audience?
I think the main thing is I do a character show. We do it on Twitch now. It's called City Council Meeting. We're at twitch.tv/Madagunkscott, which is MADDAGUNKSCOTT. We're doing one show a month towards the end of the month. We just did one yesterday. It's like a city council meeting. Characters come on, they complain and stuff like that. And we've been doing it for like 3 years now. You guys have both done it, I believe. So it's very fun. Come check that out on Twitch. And then
when's the next show?
It'll be the end of November at some point. We don't have a date set yet, but it'll be a Saturday at the end of November. Probably the last Saturday is usually what we do. And besides that, I'm here on Twitch at Mr. Bucci, and I play video games, and that's been fun. We goof around. I got a soundboard. I play a lot of annoying sounds. My friends get mad at me when we're doing it. So
it's really
that's
good.
pretty much it.
It's so entertaining. Yesterday, Will just started doing some Seinfeld impressions and playing like the Seinfeld theme.
Yeah, I got the Seinfeld opening monologue music. So when someone is talking and they start to sound a little too much like they're doing a stand-up bit, I hit the button and make them do a Seinfeld monologue. So that's fun.
It was really good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I feel like you're a very entertaining streamer, and I hope that you get the audience you deserve for it, because that's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, we've also with you two, we've been playing on a Minecraft server, which it's been a couple weeks at this point. Probably we've all been busy and not in Minecraft, but there'll be more Minecraft in the future.
Whenever you want, we're back. We're ready.
Absolutely.
Okay, other stuff to promote. The Managers Comedy has a virtual improv show every Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific. You can catch it on the same stream that you are watching this on now, or if you're not watching it on the stream, it's twitch.tv/managerscomedy. If you are watching this live, and only if you are watching this live at 7 p.m. Pacific time tonight,
it's actually 17. I think it's 15 minutes ago, because this is a 2-hour long stream.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's what you get. That's what you get when you book me, guys. You're getting a guy who won't stop talking.
No, this was
your heart out.
This 2 hours went quick. This was a great one. I love this one. So no, but yeah, 2 hours ago, starting 2 hours ago, you can see our short film that the three of us made, and
yes.
It doesn't matter if you start watching it at the time it starts or whatever. It's virtual on demand. Once you start watching it, you have 48 hours from the premiere, which is today. And once you start watching it, you have 24 hours to finish watching it. It's part of the Los Angeles 48-hour film project. It's a bunch of filmmakers signed up to do a movie in 48 hours. We're part of a group that's going at 7 o'clock Pacific today that has 12 total films, 11 other filmmakers besides us. We made a short movie that's really weird and fun. It's called Me, You, and Marlon. And, look for it. The group name is The Managers Special. And
I play a coffee mug.
Yes.
And if you want that link, we'll paste it into the chat, I imagine.
And also, there's no guarantee about this, but there will be other screenings. So if we do well at the screening, we may advance to the Audience Awards, which will be on November 1st, or the best of. There's absolutely no guarantee. The movies this year have been really, really good. So this may be your only chance. And also,
so get out there and vote for us. And that's the only important election you should participate in.
That's the only thing going on. And what was I going to say? Yeah, it'll be on YouTube eventually once the festival's over. This show, we're back next week on Sunday. We are in honor of Halloween. We are, yes, America.
This is not a MAGA hat. This is just a red, white, and blue flag hat. Please.
I can attest to the fact that Chris has had that hat since 2014. Our next week's show, in honor of Halloween, we are watching the movie Mandy. Our guest is John Serpico, Boston comedian. We're really excited for this one. It's going to be creepy, and Chris and I are going to have to watch it during the daytime so we don't get scared.
I almost did that one. You said it might be too scary.
I know we got to do it. So tune in next week for that. What?
We got to have Will back.
We will have Will back. We absolutely will.
Maybe we should do National Treasure too.
Oh, we got it.
Yeah, we do have someone booked for that.
Okay.
But
no, I'm happy to not do another one of these movies.
I think that might be more interesting to get your perspective on a different type of a different cage. Last thing, we are collecting donations for the Downtown Women's Center, a downtown LA organization that's focused on serving and empowering women who are experiencing homelessness and formerly homeless women. The link is on the closing slide. If you feel like donating, that'd be awesome. And as Chris always says, I don't know when you're going to listen to this episode, but given that today it is October 25th, please vote.
Vote.
There's no reason not to.
And the podcast is available Tuesday mornings.
Yes. Oh my God, that was a lot. Guys, anything I forgot?
The Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's call it a day. Let's all take our little bathroom breaks and get some water. And this has been a long one. This has been great, guys.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday, America. Will, you're amazing.
Happy birthday, America. Thank you.
Great job.
All right. See you all next week.
See you guys. Unlocking the Cage is produced by The Manager Special. Music by Will Gianetta. Check out our other shows, as well as sketches, animation, and short films at managerscomedy.com.